Ho, welcome back. Super Saturday here on Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Myself, Dave Orton, after a brief weekend off, delighted to be here with you. Ascot and Haydock on the menu today. Just a matter of another Grade 1, the long walk hurdle. Get your social media comments in, whether you're watching on Facebook Live or indeed YouTube. Welcome back. Delighted to be here. It is the happiest time of the year. Quite literally out there, isn't it? Plunged into Tier 3 most of the country. That means you've got your feet up now. Of course, they were going to get back to Ascot this week, weren't they? It's not managed to happen, but the racing will be fantastic. Bottomless ground wherever you look. To help us eke out the mud lovers, let's see who we've got on the panel for you. Mattie Batch is back.
Hello, Dave, back again.
With a vengeance, Batch.
Bit like a bad smell, back again.
I was going to say anything, Batch. They've turned the heating up in here as well. It's a terrible time.
Yeah, I know, yeah, not good.
They really have a war jumper and everything today. It's relatively mild out there. Ross Brierley is here as well. What's the weather like up in... I always say, I want to say Wetherby. But it's Leeds, isn't it?
It's Leeds.
We say Leeds.
It's the same difference, isn't it? I mean, for Southerners, it's all the same, isn't it?
Haven't had supporters or racegoers back for a long time up there, have we? So,
no.
Are you starting to? Is it in the rest of the country? Pretty much joined you now. Unless you're in some of the lucky areas. You're in Brighton, of course, Batch.
Brighton, yeah, Tier 2 still.
Yeah. All right, so either way...
I mean, we haven't had a Tier 2 in Leeds, so I don't even know what the difference is. What can you do? Tell me about it, Matt. What wonders?
Well, it backfires because you can have all your family around and some of you don't want to
okay.
Look, whether you are watching, wherever you're watching, and no doubt you've got your screens up and you're looking forward to a great afternoon's action from Ireland. Via Skype, we can reach over there, from Betfair. Darren Hughes is back.
Afternoon, gents. How are we? Is it too early to start then? Happy Christmas or not?
Not at all.
No,
not
happy
at
Christmas
all.
then.
Not at all.
Who's the new Irish fellow here?
we should let everyone in, just as we're warming ourselves up in here. Not that we really need to, but we're warming ourselves up a little bit. And Darren and Mattie were having a chat, and myself and Ross are, professionally getting away for the show. And I said, did you just speak a little bit of Irish there? When I spent some time in Australia a long time ago, they said to me, don't lose your English accent, man. And I try to cling on to it, but my wife goes crazy because whenever we go into any sort of cultural experience that isn't English, basically, or British, my accent tends to change a little bit. And did I just go a tad Irish?
There was a slight twinge.
You said you said there's a term for it.
Code switching, apparently.
Which apparently is?
It's apparently a sign of high emotional intelligence, Dave. So, Dave Orton, highly emotionally intelligent.
Absolutely. I think probably the most emotionally intelligent of us all is Darren Hughes. Darren, you're going to be telling us all about the exchange today, aren't you? You've got some new features that we want to explore and everything as the afternoon progresses.
Absolutely, Dave. Yeah, look, as we always say, it's the most innovative product in gambling today. So, look, we have a number of different bits and pieces we want to do today. We're going to take advantage of the extra places on the exchange. We're going to go after a couple of horses with a couple of lays. We're going to Dutch 2 horses in a field so we can kind of back those 2 against the field. We're going to play slay a big Nicky Henderson horse, so I'm really keen to get after as well, just to back him to get out of the places. So really looking forward to the day. Some top racing ahead, and hopefully Paisley Park can maintain his long walk hurdle crown.
Ooh, already giving you a little tip there, Darren. Yeah, the long walk is an absorbing race. I've got a couple of social media comments on the screen already. Who opens the show? Here we go. Damien Moffat. Good to have you on. Damon Moffat, I should say. Glad all the big guns have stood their ground and are set to run in the long hurdle up to now. Long walk hurdle, I should say.
It will be a long hurdle.
It's going to be a long hurdle. It used to have the Rev de Civilers, didn't you? Barracudas used to win it. It used to go to a horse that could take it out. Is Paisley Park at the top of everyone's menu for it? Or?
He is for me. After he's come back run at Newbury, I think it's hard to look beyond him, I think.
Yeah. Ross?
I like him very much, but I do think the mare's allowance.
You're having a mare.
I'm having a mare, absolutely. I think it's going to play a huge part today.
We've got so much to talk about there. Okay, let's get another one in. Thanks, Damon, for that. Keep on coming back in. Matthew Jones. Matty, good to have you back. Roxana wins the long walk hurdle, going with Ross Brierley. I think Time Hill might be the one to be with as well. Main fact, story of the season so far. The ground has come in his favour. I think the going stick reading there yesterday was 4.3. That's low. That means it's some-like. And the mud has been flying, chaps. Down in Berkshire, isn't it, from what we've seen so far?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, they've been... Yesterday there's a few finishing quite tired. The early pace was sort of catching a few out. So
yeah, there was an opening hurdle race, wasn't there? And I said, Matty, I'm fascinated to know why, because Ascot is basically a gradual inclining hill, isn't it?
Yeah.
I say gradual, it's some hill as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big hill, and most of the races you'd have to go beyond 2 mile. You have to go up there twice, and it's, as you pointed out, said you can give too much ground away. In the opening hurdle race, there was just one front runner, so they've gave him a lot of room.
But 2 went clear, didn't they?
Two
One
went
actually
clear.
came down. I can't remember the name of the horse, but he came down. It was a Ben Pauling horse.
Ben Pauling horse, yeah.
Yeah, morning speed. They were 1 and 2 throughout,
One
essentially, weren't they?
was the gamble landed, wasn't it? Look, we're going to have a lot of drama there today.
I can say it's a surprise that on the flat at Ascot, obviously, I mean, that hill stops front runners. You turn in, you go too soon on the level and you don't get home, whereas over jumps, it seems to work the other way. So we've seen Dashel Drasher made all the running. Morning Spirit was on the speed.
The graduation chase, was it a graduation chase? Yeah, with a Caribbean boy. How many of you were on that?
It can work the other way. It can work the other way as well. I've done it myself. It all depends on the amount of front runners. If you've got a big handicap and there's 7 or 8 front runners, then all of a sudden you'll get a different sort of pace up front. Whereas in the earlier race, 1 or 2, they're sort of go sensible, and they're hard to catch back. But where there's 7 or 8 front runners, you could be just going that little tad too quick.
Well, the long walk's got 8 runners and 3 genuine confirmed front runners, and the first 4 in the bet, and all the big names are all hold-up horses. So it could be, in theory, you're going to get 3 burning off and setting it up for the deepest closer.
And we've got a couple of non-runners in the race, guys, haven't we? Of course, the Thistle unfortunately has cracked, and the Jam Man, I think a bit sticky for him there today, so he's out. Ross Brierley has a rival for the contest value this afternoon. Do you know what? I thought about that last night. Don't forget to say that, Dave. It's a bit sticky there today. Strongest fancies of the day. I thought the conditional might be the one. We've got a lovely Silver Cup. Good luck, Holly in Spotty Silver Cup, Sports Personality of the Year, of course. So right into 9 to 4. Holly Doyle, quickly, just a quick word about that. Can she do it?
Absolutely. I mean, do you remember when Ryan Giggs won?
Yes.
I had a call from a mate who said, look, I'm part of the Man United supporters club, and I said we're going to have to stop being friends. And he said that we've been talking and we're all going to vote for Ryan Giggs. We're all going to vote
block the line a bit, don't you, Candy?
Essentially. So he said he's 33 to 1 now. Go and back him. And he went off odds on and I rang up 40, 50 times. So,
is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because everyone from Man United.
Gamble landed.
So this is a self-fulfilling gamble. If you
there is Jordan Henderson is in there. We're going off a little bit, but we know you like.
Are there more Liverpool fans than racing fans?
Well,
that's the question.
Well, the Liverpool Union could well block the line, and I know that people that have backed Holly are thinking about that. Lewis Hamilton, of course, was about 4s on. He must have drifted out a bit now, I think, but it would be surprising if Lewis didn't win it. But come on, Holly, we can do this. Anyway, the conditional runs in that. It was a toss-up between that and Lord Napier. We go up to Haydock today as well. Totally contrasting track to Ascot, probably the sharpest jumps track.
One of them, yeah.
Of the grade ones out there?
Yeah, one of the sharpest tracks, yeah.
Is it like a right angle, that bend, as you come off it?
Not far off it, yeah. Bit of a left angle.
Left angle, even. No one ever says left angle. I've got an whole afternoon of this. Unbelievable scenes.
We were going at a right angle. You'd be going.
It's good to have Pythagoras on the show, isn't it?
Also in tier 2, it seems you have a sense of humour.
You need one.
Which is what Batch is going to give us all afternoon. We've got one more social before we go and have a little look at our first at Ascot, the 150. Stephen Klein, good to have you back, Stephen. Would love to see Main Fact win. Exciting horse to watch and could be a big race for the jockey to win as well. So come to you, Batch, as well, before I ask you for the nap on the afternoon. Fergus Gillard can't claim 7 this time. I actually spoke to Dave Pipe in length about this yesterday. It's a small syndicate, I think we could say that. They've had a couple of other horses. This is the Main Fact syndication with Mr. Clarkson and Delface, I think, or Delfas, however you want to say. All right, horses, not too bad, but this is a completely different story. He can't claim his 7 now that he did at Haydock when he won, which we covered that Grade 3 handicap at Haydock. He's going to keep the ride, basically. They want to do it. It's a fairy tale, isn't it? Fergus is part of it. He can ride.
He can ride, and although you are losing the claim, but he knows the horse inside out, and I think that's more invaluable than any claim.
Yes.
Put someone else on him who doesn't know him. Listen, he might be a straightforward ride.
That's a very interesting point.
But the kid has done nothing wrong on it and deserves his chance.
Tommy Skoo has ridden him and won on him, I think.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look like a straightforward ride, does he? He scrubbed along from the word go, and he
has that
until he jumps the final
Yeah,
flight,
but
and he goes,
anyone else, anyone else would be sort of rushing him.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to get closer. But he knows what he can and what he can't do, and that's his makeup.
Yeah.
He takes a little bit of rusting along, and
I think if you are a Main Fact fan, you're more than happy to have Fergus Gillard.
I mean, it's not just this horse though. He's riding out. The jockey's riding out of his skin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they've had it's been lovely to see Pond House and the Pipes have these weekend winners again. Absolutely, doesn't matter how old you are. They're a good firm, and Dave Pipe deserves plenty of Saturday winners, which they have been having. Okay, before we go on to the first race preview, strongest of the afternoon, who do you...
Buzz for me.
In the last?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we finished the show at 3:35 at Ascot.
He was really impressive there before at Ascot,
impressive.
yeah, and the step up in class I don't think is going to be a problem.
Yeah, the market's been lukewarm on him, maybe because the £11 going up, will he approach value? Interesting, Mattie Batchelor, Ross Brierley.
I've had a little each way double on the two Skelton horses in the next two at Ascot, Roxana and Benny's King.
We will get
like
to Benny's.
I think the mare's allowance for Roxana, and like you said, Benny's King runs in the next, and I think has been set up perfectly for this race.
Dave loves Benny's, don't you? You like Benny's?
Benny's, you know what it's like. We'll get to that, Mattie Batchelor. We'll get to that. Darren Hughes, show us the market on the first, and perhaps give us a hint of your strongest of the day. I'm assuming it might be Paisley Park, is it?
No, it's not my strongest fancy. I'm going for an unexposed in the Betfair Tommy Whittle later on, but we'll just look at the 150 in Ascot here to kick us off. And the aforementioned Benny's King leads the market at 7.4, just a shade lower than 13-2. Sandavasi then for David Bass and Tom Simmons in smashing form at the moment, 7.8. Saint Sonnet then for Paul Nichols, 8.2. Smarty Wild, 9. Bentley Can, now with Nicky Henderson, I don't know what word you'd use to describe him, 9.2, and then Drumflip for Miss Anya O'Connor and Harry Fry is 10.0. So a lovely competitive heat to get us kicked off today.
Perhaps the same word that I used to describe Benny's, I think, earlier on. Benny's King, basically, what Matty was alluding to there. You have these horses that you expect, they just let you down a little bit, and it's just from a pure punting point of view. But Benny's King, I never, ever get right. Before we go to Darren for his trade, you like him because...
He's just got a really good profile for a horse second time out. His last 3 seasons, he's won second time out every single time. He's got a fantastic record on heavy ground as well. And he was backed into joint favouritism in Aintree, but again, it was his first run of the season, and he just jumped a bit stickily. He looked like he needed it, and he coasted home behind Modus in what was a fairly warm race as well. So I just think these conditions are absolutely spot on for him. You know, his last run of last season was a cracking run at this track.
Yeah.
Again, we say horses for courses, horses for the ground, horses for the time of year. Everything is in his favour today. The Skeltons got 5 runners today. They've already had one that's run really well in the first.
A good winner yesterday, didn't they? My Drogo in the graded.
Yeah, really nice performance, yeah. But, I mean, all 5 of them have got genuine chances. So we've already had one hit the frame. I think they're going to have a good day. And Benny's King looks to have been primed perfectly for this race at a track that he loves.
Interesting. He's always there or thereabouts in the market, I think. Yeah, and when you look at him, 2-1-2 on heavy, isn't he? Second on his own start there. Could I be proved wrong? Let's go to Darren Hughes, though, for his trade. We know you like him to get in early.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the one I've sided here with is Saint Sonnet for Paul Nichols and Harry Cobden. Looking back in horses with form figures of FP in their last 2 starts normally isn't the cleverest thing to do. But I do think there are some fairly valid reasons for those form figures. He ran a creditable 7th in last year's JLT behind Sam Crone. Look, his comeback run was okay. He ran well for a long way. He fell when he was tired. And I thought that was a reasonable enough pipe opener for a horse that probably needed this first run back. He was pulled up the last time, but he was absolutely cut to pieces by a faller in front of him. So I'm more than willing to forgive him that. It's only a swift run for Paul Nichols. I think there's definitely could be improvement to come here. More importantly, again, then he is a hold-up horse. There's loads of pace on here. There's an awful lot of pace on. You have Sandavasi and Richardson, Mengley Khan, Capgar. They all like to go forward. That could set it up for the closes, which this side is. If Harry can get him jumping, I think him on a big race. And in around the 7.8, 8.0 mark, we're happy to back him. So we're going to back him, win and play. So if we could ask the man in control of the laptop there to have 30 quid in the win market, please, on Sans on it. We'll stick him up at 8 and see if we get matched. We won't take the 7.8. Just see if we can get matched at 8.
Was that 30 quid, Darren?
30, please, Ross. Yeah.
That's all right.
Thank you.
38.
And then we'll go and we'll have a score in the place market. Just the regular place market for this one. In and around the 9 to 5 mark, between 7 to 4 and 15 to 8. Around 2.82 or 2.8. We'll have a score. So we're getting a little bit more than our whole stake back if he does hit the frame but doesn't manage to win the race. I think he's one. He's less exposed than lots of these. He can go on and win.
You're up 50 at 2.8, yeah?
No, 20 score.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry.
Score 2.8. No, you're grand.
The only way is up, old boy. Ross Brierley will be doing all the trading.
Can't hear a word he said.
Yeah, the only way is up.
It's the Betfair account you're looking after, not your own, Ross.
Ross does have 2 laptops.
I've got too many. I've got 2 laptops and a notepad.
We'll touch on that quickly. It's because you will be doing. You are an in-running punter, aren't you?
Yeah, but I'm not I learned early on. I learned the Goshen race that maybe I should take my hand off the mouse when it's in here. Right. But I just thought you might want a little stat for Nichols runner, because I was quite surprised to see St Sonic come back so soon.
Yeah.
And I thought this is fairly unlike Nichols to run one back so soon. So
is it?
Well, so I had a look at his handicap runners, 7 days or less in the past. I think it was 15 years. 36 from 125, so a 28.8% strike rate and a £29.88 level stake profit, which I thought was pretty damn good, because I thought it'd be quite a, surely Nichols has got a plan mapped out for these horses, and coming back a week later would have been a bit of a surprise for me, but that looks a positive.
Betfair employee backs Betfair ambassador's horse. It's sort of there, isn't it?
Yeah, but is that the...
Well, with an F and a P there. Well, it obviously does his blog, doesn't he, on Betfair and things like that. Just a quick word for the charity today. We're going to keep along the Burrow 7 trail. Rob Burrow, the former rugby league player, on his fight back trail against motor neurone disease. They've got a horse with Jed O'Keefe, a 3-year-old. Check out burrow7.com. It feels right to be getting behind that at the moment. We do injured jockey farms, retraining racehorses. This just feels right at the minute. So all the money, hopefully, that Darren makes over the course of the Christmas period, they'll be writing a cheque to burrow7.com. You can buy a membership with that as well. 3-year-old gelding in train. It was schooled at Hen Knights.
It's been down
everything
there.
Seems to go down there now.
Yeah,
maybe I should go down there for my emotional intelligence training.
I think you'll be on help, Dave, to be fair.
Planet Dave is
Hen's
not a place
good,
you want to
she's
go.
not that good.
But you've got a great deal of time for the operation down there, and you know a bit about it, don't you?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have a few rides for Hen, go and ride out for a few days a week, and to experience that. So she doesn't leave any stone unturned. She's very good at what she does, and Yogi Breisner often goes in there when she was training, and it's just if
you got on a novice there,
if you got on a novice there, Dave, you could, whether you were schooling it or you got on it at the track, you just knew that you could. Some horses you need a little bit of help, but on her novices you could go in, if you didn't see a stride, if you just put your hands down, left it to the horse, they knew their job.
Superb. Okay, if you want to get any questions for Mattie Batch, get your social media comments up. The guys, Rob Lee and Dan Walsh in the gallery today, will eke them out for you. We're approaching the business end then of the first race. I like Enrichissement, for who Darren mentioned might be a pace angle for David Bridgewater. I'm hoping him and the Saint horse, who's for some reason he's gone away from me. Where are we? Saint Devassi with Tom Simmons, who looks the unexposed fly in the ointment. Perhaps they don't take each other on. I don't think Enrichissant needs to lead. And Brendan Powell, I can see him being up there. David Bridgewater might well have a double today. Matty Batch?
It's what Darren was saying earlier about there's a lot of pace in this race. So I've gone for a little Gary Morrell's early de Limo. I think Josh, by the way they're lining up, he might take his time a little bit, and the race might fall into their lap.
Okay, superb. So there are the selections for the first. Good luck wherever you are playing there, circling down at the start. First of the live races here this Saturday on RP Live. Cannot wait for this afternoon. It's some juicy action indeed. This is like one of those typical 6-1 the field races. We could see some drama, couldn't we? Mengley Khan, who Darren mentioned. We can't go without mentioning the Mengley, can we?
I was just going to say to you, how is this horse 7 years old? He's been racing for decades.
Yeah.
He's raced on the. He was on the
Hugo
flat.
Palmer.
He finished last in a Racing Post Trophy, and now he's here for Nicky Henderson.
He has had his supporters jumping on and off the Mengley bandwagon. Be fascinating to see what Hendo can do with this chap.
And again, another rare is that you're not getting many sort of Henderson buying from other top yards and recruiting in. It's not really there.
It's not his thing, is it?
His style,
not at all.
Not really, but I'll go on. I'll answer that after this race. I've heard a little bit of a shift in ownership ploys from Henderson. Are we going to take the commentary, Ross?
Do you want me to do this one?
If you don't mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, over to the first and the 150. They're off and running here on RP Live.
They are off and running, and Matty Batch has broke his microphone straight off the bat. And there does seem to be plenty of pace on here as we go up towards the first with Guardfort, Benny's King on Rashad down this near side. The aforementioned Mengley Khan as well in the mix. On the wide outside, Saint Devassi is very wide indeed. St Sonic also getting a good sight of his fences. And let's go to the back, and we've got at the back Not Another Muddle, and we've also got Cap Gary and Smarty Wild. Oh, not a great jump there from Guard Fort. Charlie Deutsch almost ejected out of the saddle here, and there's been A race to get into their early positions here as they approach the third fence. God fought on Richant. Benny's King in the van behind. Mengley on the inside. Cap Gary makes another mistake at the back. Other ones we haven't mentioned yet. Drumcliff, early Delimo at Maddie's selection is in a lovely position. But now they've let Guardfort go on, and luckily there isn't a five-way battle for the lead as it looked like there might be.
Passing the stands for the first time, then the 150 opening race here on the Saturday. Mattie Batch. So it is Guardfort and Charlie Deutsch, Venetia Williams, who has won that battle for the lead. Is there anything that looks like it might have sulked a little bit? Who's that going to suit?
It's going to... Listen, they've jumped off at a good pace, and the lads have sort of said, right, we can't keep this pace up. We're going to... So people have said, right, we're going to take a pull. And
Brendan Powell and Richard Masson.
Yeah.
I will pronounce that
we got Fuller. Josh is gone. Gary Moore's.
That was your selection.
That was my selection's gone, yeah.
How's Smarty Wild jumping Gary Moore's out of the race then? Because at Wetherby last time, he hit just about every fence before running on stoutly. This horse has got a decent market. It depends if it's a bit of a rogue or not.
Yeah, the Hobbs team's in much better form as well, but he is a bit of an itchy feet in the sense that it gets going while it's all a bit too late. But they have set it down to a slightly reasonable gallop now with Guardfort, Benny's King on Richant. In behind those, trying to pick out those silts. It might be Sant de Vassy, who's just on the outside. Then Drumcliff and Sant Sonnet down the inside. Mengley Khan's just lost a couple of positions as Guardfort jumps that one well. And I think we're all over it. Smarty Wild makes a mistake. Cap Gary hasn't jumped a single fence yet. And the only one we haven't mentioned is Theo. For the Newland team, but it is still Guardfort who is very well handicapped. He ran at this track on his last start back in 2019. He's significantly lower than when he was running in some Cheltenham Festival races. So he is well handicapped, but Benny's King and Sant Vassy are not too far away, and so far that has been a good move to be on the speed.
They're attacking now as they approach Swinley Bottom. Two are starting to go clear. Darren Hughes has the market looking in running.
Yeah, the market loves Sant de Vassy here, Dave. 3.1305 from a BSP of 5.91. Sorry, Sant Sonnet, the one they don't want, 32 from a BSP of 6. Benny's King, the one for money 2, 3.5, 3.25 from 9.2. Smarty Wild, another one, looks to focus on 3 here in the market. Mengley Khan, a big drifter. Drumcliff also thereabouts. These halved in price. Sant Sonnet looked out of the race at this point, but Smarty Wild has just gone 11-8 in the run. So
I wonder whether they might have gone a bit soon. Darren Hughes, indeed. Smarty Wild, watch out for him. Dickie Johnson, I tell you, if you watched this last time at Wetherby, loads of people have been waiting for this to come good. He's on a good terms with himself today. Mattie Batch.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself. I don't want to give him the kiss of death, but he is enjoying himself. And the lads in front there, they did get racing a bit early. It's a long way from home here.
Yeah,
it is.
But Benny's still in this, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, Benny's King jumping very well though. Like I said, he stays well. He likes the track. He's got a good record second time out. Smarty Wild closer than he normally is now coming into it. On Richant, Guardfort still going surprisingly well after absence. A couple of slightly sketchy jumps there. Guardfort still coming back for more. On Richant travelling. Smarty Wild again. If he finishes like he did last time, he's got to have a chance here. But he's still got to get past Benny's King, who is jumping. That was another nice jump there. Smarty Wild, on Richant, Guardfort, Theo, poor jump. Drumcliff's out of it. Sant de Vassy seems to be struggling now, and that up in grade might well have found him out. But they've got to get past Benny's King, who paddled through that one.
Ross Brierley, I want to see some animation here. This is your call.
This is the pick. Benny's King, he kicks on now. This is exactly the right time. But Guardfort's coming back for more here.
I think Guardfort wins, you know.
Guardfort, Smarty Wild's also got to be in with it, but Benny's King does keep on grinding. Benny's King from Guardfort and Smarty Wild and on Richant as they turn into the home straight.
Richie wins.
We've got 2 to jump here. Benny's King is going through the gears. Harry Skelton is off the bridle, and he wants to keep going. Guardfort, though, do you want to back bridle horses in this ground? That is the question. Benny's King jumps it very well indeed. Guardfort might well have been cooked. Smarty Wild doesn't do very well either. And it's Benny's King gone. Benny's King. Harry Skelton kicks him on for the Skelton team, who could be in for a good day. And he's getting him ever further clear. Smarty Wild is the one running out of the they're not going past the last, which is perfect. Because he doesn't have to jump in now. And Benny's King is well clear of Guardfort, Smarty Wild and on Richant. And Benny's King, second time out for the 4th season running, wins for the Skelton team. Benny's King wins again. Guardfort, Smarty Wild batting it out farther places up towards the line. It is going to be Guardfort, I think, who just sticks his neck out. Smarty Wild back in third, but Benny's King.
What a reliable horse.
Well done, Ross. Well, yeah, absolutely. When we came in today, I said, who do you like? And he said, I really, really like this Benny's King. From a punting point of view, he's just a horse that I just cannot get right. Do you know what? He's a 9-year-old. That's only his 17th run in his life. And
compared to Mengley Khan, he's fresh.
Does his homework. His second time out record is very, very good. 2-2-1-1-1.
There you go.
So congratulations, Ross Brierley. If you weighed in with Ross, the boss, and Happy Days. Garforth's run an absolute stormer, isn't he, at a price of Venetia Williams? They just tend to keep going. This is what you get here on Racing Post Live. Real-time reaction. Ross Brierley, commentating with his money where his mouth is, he said, they approach the last, they're bypassing it. That's perfect.
I didn't want him to jump that last. I didn't need it.
Fantastic scenes. Darren Hughes, story of the market.
Yeah, just it was a very an eventful race to say the least. Sansana looked unhappy from where go the selection for the charity, so that's obviously not ideal. Yeah, look, from what looked an initial burn up, they didn't seem to go off all that hard, and very quickly the ones to the front of the field shortened up in the market. Benny's King was up thereabouts throughout. Enriched Sant was thereabouts as well. Smarty Wild is another one who they wanted for money in the market. He hit a low of evens.
Wow.
Gardford came there looking like he was travelling all over everything. He had a low of 1.6 to the run for about 500 quid. So some fingers burnt there. But yeah, the winner was game. He found loads. I think it was just when they turned when Ross said Harry Skelton was going through the motions. I've never seen a man as animated. I mean the jockey, not Ross. He was really going for him. But he found loads and a more than worthy winner. Yeah, but in a good round of jumping as well, in fairness to him.
When Ross Brierley joined this show, we one of our angles into you were doing a lot of in-running bunting. You mentioned the Goshen fall in the Triumph Hurdle, the opening week here on this show. We've got to get a bit more emotion out of you. I think we've just reached our hiatus with you. You need a break now, don't you?
That's it. Basically? Well, I mean, if Roxana wins, then that might go. It might go a little bit further.
Yeah, of course. The double is on.
Each way double, yeah.
Each way double is on. How did you fare in the first race at Ascot? God, love and a competitive Ascot handicap. I'll tell you what. In fourth, and Richardson. I think that's how we say his name. We've called him about 5 different pronunciations.
We need a French person to come in.
My emotional intelligence coming to the fore again.
I'm quite surprised the French didn't come out in Dave then.
I was hoping for it.
Conditional. Possible. Don't get me started. But I think the conditional now, they'll go back in the Bridgewater team, Brendan Powell, and say, I know exactly how I'm going to ride him. And I think he's got a cracking chance in the penultimate race at Ascot.
I mean, we do have to mention again that Gardfort and Benny's King, we said they were 1-2 throughout. We've seen the first
Richardson
race.
was up there, and Richardson.
I mean, Smarty Wild is Smarty Wild and Itchy Feet are going back saying, why are we running at this track why do we
just
keep going
wonder
here?
With Smarty Wild, let us know what you think about him, because the fact that Darren said he went even money and running, he's got that sort of following. A lot of the big tipsters are waiting for him. I know that at the post they're all like, "This is his." I'm not sure about him. He's let him down.
What track
is he? One of those sort of horses, though.
Well, what track suits a horse that gets going far too late like him?
I'm afraid Towster's non-de facto anymore.
But you think Ascot? That's a stiff track we were talking about earlier. It's a stiff finish. You think tracks like that would suit horses like that? I think he's one of those horses that any track that you found on, he'd run the same sort of race and he'd be the same sort of frustrating.
I think he might just want that 3 miles now.
3 miles probably help him a little bit, yeah.
Slightly better ground maybe, but the way he moved into contention, you're going to be going back in, aren't you? Let's go up to Haydock, shall we? The 205, lovely handicap hurdle for us. Loads of progressive horses in this. Where's the money been going? Warlord, who Ross Brierley put up with success at the meeting that we covered, the Betfair Chase meeting. I think he might just about be favourite. Darren Hughes.
He is indeed, yeah, and of course Betfair sponsoring the entire card here at Haydock today, so we're kicking off the action here with the Betfair Exchange Handicap Hurdle, Class 2 0 to 145. Warlord is indeed just edging favouritism at 4.4. Our power then, the reopposing our power is 4.5, but 7-2 poke. McGowan's Pass 7.0. Albert's back, the big drifter, he was matched at about 5.2, 5.3 overnight. I think 4.1 even as low as last night. He's 7.8 now. The last day 9.4 for Adam Wedge and the inform Evan Williams. Chirico Vallis 9.0, and it's big prices the last two in the market. Right,
Darren Hughes, where are you playing? Again, we're going to get you back in the game here, my man. I can feel it.
So look, what I had in my notes last night was I was mad to get after Albert's back here with a lay, but he's gone to a price now where I actually think he's probably a fair enough price, and I'm not that keen to lay him at 8.2, but anything around the 5.0 mark, I was happy to get after him. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to back McGowan's Pass and set up a lay in running. McGowan's Pass he's a good horse. He's finished second on his last 3 starts. He finished second in a Scottish champion hurdle trial up there the last day on very heavy ground. He has proven time and time again he does handle this extremely heavy ground. The problem with him is he has been known to chuck it in a couple of times. So last time he went 105 in the run and got turned over. The time before that he went 2.3 and got turned over, and the time before that 2.4. I know those aren't scandalously low prices, but bear in mind his BSP was 9.4 and 6.5 respectively for the 2 times he hit the 2.3, 2.4. So he is one of those that does maybe chuck it in a little bit. So we're going to set it up here. We're going to have 50 quid on McGowan's Pass at 7.2 win only.
Done and done.
And then we're going to set up a keep bet. We're going to try to lay him at 2.0 in the run. So if you set the back, so we're going to lay him at evens to get our stake back. If he does hit 2.0, at least we're getting, that's about evens or below. We're getting our stake back.
There you go, evens in the run.
It's not often it goes silent and concentrated here, but the spellbinding trickery of the exchange there had Mattie back absolutely. It was like rabbit in a headlock. Matt was like, he was absolutely gone there. We're learning as we go.
He was thinking.
Well, I'm thinking of retiring soon, so I might.
That's why you're in it. That's why you're.
He's
that's
learning.
why There are things that come into your mind. Okay, thank you, Darren Hughes. Absolutely, I think Albert's back. Yeah, he has definitely drifted out to a price. You want to be a bit wary of the lay now. Unlike Warlord, who's held his price all the time, and Our Power, who was third to him last time. They've both gone up in the weights, haven't they? Warlord's gone up 7. We were with him last time, Ross, weren't we? I wondered whether Our Power might be the one to take him, but I don't like him on heavy ground. I wrote him up as an eye catcher in the Racing Post in your members section when I was asked to do so after that weekend, and I said something like the Lanzarote would be perfect for this horse. Slightly better ground. You made a joke about the Lanzarote.
Okay, I'll save that. I'm going to save it till the actual race, and then.
Is it in January? Lanzarote.
Is it end of January?
End of January, Lanzarote at Kempton, basically. I think that's the race for Our Power. I'm slightly worried about him. If you watch back in the members club, you've got a chance to do it. The finish of the race where Warlord went clear, basically got a little bit tired. Our Power was running on that day. My worry is I didn't think they'd be coming back to Haydock with him, so I've gone against him. I've gone for the last day for Evan Williams, who Darren aforementioned is in good form. He won this a couple of years ago with a horse called Klein, who actually runs later on the card. There's been some sneaky money for Klein. Look out for him. I think it's a penultimate race at Haydock. He's expected to go very close in that. This chap's first time out record is very, very good. If he hadn't have fallen, it would have been nearly exemplary. A little bit like Benny's King, second time out. Heavy ground, not a problem whatsoever. Yes, it's first time out in a competitive race, but I like the fact they're coming back to hurdles. Mattie Batch.
Yeah, I did like the last day as well. Cheek pieces on. I do like McGowan's Pass. Good second at air after a long time off as well. And so he is a bit of a frustrating horse, but I'm prepared to give him another chance for me.
Okay, 2 interesting shots, Ross.
What I really like in these meetings at Haydock, the angle is looking at the speed figures of the horses and finding who has run on the worst ground and still performed creditably. And the main one in here is McGowan's Pass, who's run on terrible conditions up and down the north. Yes, he does go low in money. I think it's a good move. He looked like he had the Gubernator cooked, and then he just got chinned. I think a place bet,
wasn't it last time? Was it Catterick?
Air, I think it was, or Newcastle, one of the two.
Air.
It was Air. Yeah.
Somewhere.
But he loves terrible ground, and the other one is there's not an obvious lot of pace here. I thought the Warlord race was a proper pace collapse. There was 4 or 5 front runners in here.
Yes, there was.
So I think McGowan's Pass and Chirico Vallis might be the two on the speed. They're both like terrible ground, so I've backed both of them.
Ridden by Ryan Yorkhill Mania. Of course, the Grand National winning jockey, and Sandy Thompson. Remember that a couple of weeks ago? Absolutely unbelievable. Shall I give this one a call?
Sure.
Why not? So I'll give Ross a little bit of a break. You know,
I'll call Roxana home.
You're on. We saw a little bit of emotion from Ross there in the last call, so we'll let him pour some cold water over himself. We've got an hour and a half still to go here on the show.
I'll be in tears by 4 o'clock.
Well, that would be something to see. Which one? Oh, too late really. With
I'll send him
there.
You knock him down.
Emotionally intelligent, you see. That's the thing. Okay. Who's the one that we haven't mentioned here? Chirico Vallis is the one we've not mentioned. Any love for that, Darren? Just a last look at the market before they circle round. JP McManus.
Yeah, no real move as yet, Dave. He's about an 8.4 chance. He did hit a high of, have it here, 15. So he has halved in price overnight, but he was about the same price when we came last time. Warlord has really strengthened up. He's now 3.25 from 4.3 when we last spoke. Our Power 4.5. McGowan's Pass holding his price at 7. Albert's back, the real drifter. He's now 12.0. Nobody wants him. I wonder, has he lost a leg or what? The last day 25 as well, a bit of a drifter from 9.4 when we last spoke. So all the money really has come for Warlord. I did think he was a more than reasonable price. It was just he was, probably a fair price of 4.3, but they do really seem to have come for him now. So I'll be interested to see how he gets on.
Thank you, Darren Hughes. They're off and running then for the 205 at Haydock. Good luck wherever you're playing. 2 mile threes and straight to the front. The reason why I was interested in him, We said not a lot of pace. Chirico Vallis does indeed go on. Interesting that Sam Twiston-Davies has obviously had a word from Nige, his old man, and said, let's lay up a little bit more handy this time. He sits in second. Electron Bleu for Charlie Price is up there. McGowan's Pass, throwing his head around a little bit, wants to go a tad quicker on the outside for Ryan Mania. Warlord, he's really keen as well. In fact, Chirico Vallis has just thrown down the anchor out in front. Out the back, Albert's back. Got a nice bit of cover on the last day, Adam Wedge. And looking for Secrete Stream, the outside of the lot. Theo Gillard hugging the inside. Ross Brierley, come to you. Where do we want to be at Haydock when they're going this sort of gallop? Usually out front, don't we?
I mean, you don't want to be far away at all. I mean, we saw earlier on over hurdles at the track that horses swinging into the home straight and on the speed can certainly quick and clear. And as we said with the Warlord race last time out, there was 3, 4, maybe 5 front runners. The pace collapsed and it set it up for Warlord and Our Power. But it doesn't look like it's going to necessarily work out the same as it did last time out, which means Warlord is going to have to improve from the back. But he's an unexposed 5-year-old, so it can happen. But right now, they're going a reasonable gallop, and the £7 claimer Kevin Brogan is enjoying himself out in front on Chirico Vallis.
Let's come to the actual jockey in the room, not the Brierley armchair version. And we'll ask Mattie Batchelor. We'll ask Mattie Batchelor who you want to be on right now,
I just chuffed you called me an actual jockey. I'm getting emotional.
Okay, so Mattie, the reason why I want to come to you really is because there are some throwing their heads around. They're a bit keen, aren't they? Again, you're sort of looking at Warlord. It's interesting that Our Power's going to get first run on him this time. Is there any that you wouldn't want to be on? Albert's back, perhaps. McGowan's Pass. They're the two I'm really looking at.
No, nothing. They're all sort of travelling well in themselves. Robbie's travelling well. I think he might make a little bit of a move down the back just to get a little bit closer so they just don't get away from him. But no, from a jockey's point of view, they'd all be quite happy. They're all travelling. As I say, few are probably just running with the choke out a little bit, but it's going across even gallop for me.
Yeah, they're going out onto the far side then, getting towards the business end of the gallop will start ramping up around 3 out a wager. I'll tell you what, Warlord's absolutely cantering away. Progressive grey horse for Team Tizard. The last day with him out the back and Albert's back as well. Secrete Stream just made a place or two going into the middle. McGowan's Pass. Ryan Mania's thought, yeah, I'm going to need to steady you back slightly. Interesting that they're looking for some of the better ground. Albert's back definitely. Secrete Stream just moves off the inside now. Our Power got a lovely sit along with Electron Bleu, but still out in front of the Kevin Brogan, one of the conditional finds of the season. He's got a lovely lead. Nothing hassling at them at the minute up front. And Mattie Batchelor, that can often be keen when you're on a front runner. Nothing softening you up.
That's right, and he was going for a free timer at Bangor last time and he made a mid-race blunder, so he's probably got him out there seeing he's just coming off the bridle a little bit now. The others are just coming on the outside of him, so he's...
Looks like he's sulking a bit,
yeah,
doesn't it?
just
Far
a little
side,
bit, yeah.
Then 4 out, I think this is. Let's go to Darren Hughes for a final look at the market. What about Lawhord as he creeps closer?
Yeah, he's just gone 15 to 8 in the run, Dave, 2.8 and short, and Our Power holding his price 6.2, 7.2. McGowan's Pass, be a fit for him. He's now 5.0 for VSP is 7. Albert's back, money for him to do 7.6 from 12. The Chirico Vallis Big Drifter 46 and the VSP of 8.6. The last day holding its price is about 11.5. But this could go anyway now, to be honest. I wouldn't like to call it. McGowan's Pass just gone 3-1. Warlord about 9-4 in the run. So interesting times ahead as we turn for home.
Very much so. Still a few horses on the bridle. Albert's back trying to sweep the pack. Look, didn't give the last day much luck. Secrete Stream looks like he's going. It was Electron Bleu that absolutely whacked it. I'll tell you what, Chirico Vallis looks like he's leading on sufferance now, doesn't he? Has for a while. Robbie Puppy Power then, Ross Brierley. He's got the last day and his old rival Our Power in his sights as we enter the home straight.
I mean, I think the back to lay on a McGowan's Pass is a good idea here because he's going to go kick on like he did last time out. But like I said, he does handle these conditions. Warlord is close. Our Power may be riding a bit close. It hasn't worked out for him. Albert's back drifted, but he's travelling like a dream here.
Yeah,
but
he's travelling well.
They didn't go too quick early on. I think McGowan's Pass kicking on now. This might be a good move. I think we're going to get the even money match, Darren, hopefully.
Anyway. Last day here, isn't it? He's absolutely cruising, and the Warlord comes under pressure. Albert's back. What has he got left under Brian Hughes? McGowan's Pass jumps it. Has the bet been matched? That'll be interesting. Our Power doing his best to come back into it. Warlord too far out of his ground. This looks like the bird might have flown. 9-year-old McGowan's Pass has gone clear. Last day looking like he's needing that seasonal return. The Warlord looks like he's left it too much. It's a 2-horse race to the last. Albert's back. What a ride this is by Brian Hughes. Take a bow. He's absolutely nailed this, Brian. He's given the outside to no one, got the better ground, waited for it. McGowan's Pass runs an absolute blinder. Will he cling on for second? But he's in the trailing wake of Albert's back. If you took the drift, happy days. This has been one-way traffic after the last. It didn't look likely for through the early parts. He was throwing his head in. Brian Hughes pats him down the neck. McGowan's Pass does hold on to second from the rallying Warlord. What a race. Initial thoughts, Ross Brierley?
I mean, again, like you said, a lovely ride there on an improving horse who, he looked impressive last time out, but he maybe got the race run to suit and it was a good ride. But today he's gone through the gears again there. McGowan's Pass I thought was given a great ride, the perfect ride really. Yeah, he's just been a bit unlucky to get beat again. I think he definitely went odds on, so Darren got out of the bet, so that was a good move. And I think again, what you need to think about when you're looking at horses like Warlord and Our Power, again, last time out, big field, pace collapse. This time, very different, and it hasn't suited them as much. And the two who maybe have been running through bad ground up north and just kicked on at the right time, have been battling out.
The winners, like Stone Bunkers last, going around the back. He's gone wide, obviously for the better ground, but he's given away loads of ground and still won well. So there's definitely an engine there.
On the flat at Haydock, you want to go as wide as possible, so I wonder whether we might see more jockeys do that today.
Yeah, so he looked quite well handicapped still on that one at Weatherby. So why the drift, Darren Hughes? Why the big drift? What was the story of the market?
Well, it just does go to show, and it's one of these old tropes in racing. That's drifted so it can't win. It just shows that it's nonsense. I mean, I know, look, it's after time to say it, but it does happen time and time again with these horses drift. This trebled in price. Matched at 4.1 overnight, went up 12.0 BSP, and it's still gone and won. McGowan's Pass burnt a few fingers there. Thankfully, not ours. He was about $3,000 done at 1.52. Again, I totally agree. Given a brilliant ride, just he got the most out of the horse. Just these things happen, but again, that just does show the beauty of the exchange. We know we have a horse that can go low in the run, and we can set up a bet that will hold for the whole race until it hits a price we're happy to lay it back and get our stake back. So we've no harm done there. We had 50 quid to win, and we managed to lay back 50 of it. Again, just shows the beauty of the exchange. McGowan's Pass did hit a low 1.5 in the run for about $3,000. Albert's Back was never hit that big of a price. VSP 12.0. He hit the high of 14, but I'm not sure whether that was in the run or pre-race. Warlord stayed on nicely enough off a slow pace. Hit a low evens in the run as well. I'm not sure when about the 8 evens, but interesting race overall. McGowan's Pass, touch unlucky. Albert's Back, and improved horse, definitely.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to know some of the also runs from that race, check out the Racing Post analysis. You get all the post-race quotes as well in your members section also. I
was going to say, the first two have noticeably gone wider throughout. Yeah. They've kept. You were saying earlier about McGowan's Pass being 3 wide. Yeah. Albert's Back has come all the way round the outside to swing into the straight. So, I just wonder, is this the third Haydock meeting so far? It might be the second. Either way, it's always bad ground at Haydock. The weather's been terrible. I wonder if it's going to be churned up on the inside. And we'll see some
I'd be happy to give Our Power another chance. Back on some better ground. He's run quite a game race, I think, and maybe not the way to ride it. They experimented him with a little bit today. And Warlord
just got tapped for a little bit of toe.
Absolutely, I think Warlord. I know he's higher in the weights now, but the way he travels through his races. Don't give up on him just yet. Strong form race.
But they stopped, didn't they, last time out? So he didn't need to go through. Yeah. He didn't need to change gear, Warlord.
It's probably flattered to deceive. They stopped. He looked like he come past them. But today they've quickened and just left him a little bit flat-footed. But he stayed all the way to the line. I wouldn't be surprised if they step him up in trip now.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see what they go with Albert's Back. And again, like I say, you can get all your post-race quotes, especially on a Saturday. The big boys come out and give you all the lines going forward. Where will they go with Albert's Back? Were you on the drift? Let us know. Let's get your social media comments coming in. We've got a little bit of a break from the Silver Trophy to the last race, the Betfair Handicap at Ascot. So I'm going to ask you for your King George 1, 2, 3s. Yep, our next show after this will be Boxing Day. We'll be back for the Kempton showpiece. We'll be going over to Leopardstown as well. Fear not, we'll be with you throughout the Christmas period. Cannot wait every day here on RP Live. What are your King George 1, 2, 3s? Not now, lads. I sprung this on you, didn't I? Just want to show. But I've given you about half an hour to think about it. Is it going to be a Nichols 1, 2 just quickly? Or let's see what the public think. Will it be Clan de Zobo getting one over on Serename again? It's a fascinating piece, isn't it?
I'd prefer to be with the Clan. I think it was a perfect. I know we were on for the Betfair Chase and we were saying, you don't send a horse to a Grade 1 to have a trial and all that. But if you've got a genuine King George horse and you go in there to defend your crown, you're not bothered beating a couple of lengths at Haydock to get yourself prepped for it perfectly. So I think it'll be very hard to beat.
I think Surname will turn the tables this year.
I've got a funny feeling he might.
Yeah,
as well.
he's run at Cheltenham, Weatherby. Sorry.
He's had more time as well.
Yeah, he's definitely done it different this year than from last year, and I think that's what took the toll last year. I think he's turned the tables. I think you have a 1-2, but I think not in the way that people think. Surname and Clan de Zobo.
Going to be a very Merry Christmas for Paul Nicholls, the Betfair ambassador, in the King George no matter what. But let's hear what your suggestion is. Can Lost in Translation ever say, will we see Monolly come over? Waiting patiently is a bit of love for that in the market as well. Fascinating stuff. We will give a good King George mention, as I say, between the last two races here on RP Live. But now we must go back down to Ascot. It's Grade 1 time. It is the long walk hurdle. Let's have a look at the market. Let's see if Tyne Hill is really pulling away and could go off clear fab. I looked about 10 minutes ago and it looked like Darren Hughes, he was just winning the battle for favouritism.
Yeah, my high at 3.4 overnight. He's now 2.92, 2.9 in the exchange. Paisley Park, small bit of a drifter. They were about joint tabs overnight. He's now 3.45 from a low of 3. Roxana then, Ross Brierley's selection looks like a solid each way option. 6.0, and also definitely can win the race, which is from an each way perspective. I like the angle. Main fact then, the improver going for I believe it's a 10 timer, 8.6 for David Pipe and the aforementioned Fergus Gillard. Third win then, Portrush Ted, any price you like. You never call 44 the world's end, 50.0. So they'd look to have a little bit to find, and that is the angle that I'm going to take on the race actually.
Okie dokie. Well, shall we get the trade on? Let's do it. Come on, let's get it psyched up for this long walk hurdle.
Sure thing, let's do it. Look, the way I looked at this race, I thought the front two in the market had a little bit of an upper hand on everything else in the race, particularly the bottom four, as you mentioned. But even Roxana, as much as I think she's pretty much nailed down for third, I do think she's a little bit defined with the main protagonist. So I'm going to try and Dutch the pair of them. So I'm going to back two of them to win against the field. Now, this is taking the opposite view to Tony Calvin on Racing Only Better yesterday, so I hope Tony's listening then he won't go for me the next time. He won't be too upset, but let's put this up anyway. We'll take Tyne Hill at 2.9 and Paisley Park at 3.4.
Okay, and what's your total stake, Darren?
Total stake is going to be 50 quid, so we're going to have 27 at 17 on Tyne Hill.
Is that, well, yeah, I've touched... Is that's all right? Is that right? 27.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely perfect, brilliant. Yeah, great stuff. We've an exchange expert the other end, which is great to have. Yeah, thanks for that, Ross. That's great. Look, as I said, the approach I took to it was I just thought these two had a bit of an upper hand on the rest of the field. I thought the form of the Newbury race last time was very strong. I happen to think Fabulous is an absolute weapon of a thing, just probably didn't stay. Both of them are likely to have improved for the run. In particular, Paisley Park, I think he comes on more for his first run than people actually realise, because the last two seasons he's obviously won, but you have to bear in mind 2 years ago he won a handicap of 138 or 140 or thereabout, and last year he beat Thistlecrack by a length, and we know he's a much better horse than both those two results, and I do think he'll have improved from the last day, so fingers crossed he can go well here again.
Fascinating stuff from Darren Hughes as ever.
I will also say, sorry as well, Tyne Hill looks like a very fast improver, and there's an argument that Albert Bartlett was the best novice race run in Cheltenham last year, so we'll see how both of them.
Sorry,
stealing thunder there, Darren. I was about to come to that. Yeah, the Albert
Would you
Bartlett
agree
race
that
is fascinating.
Paisley's run last time was one of his better runs throughout his...
Oh yeah,
second to Tyne Hill, that's one of his better runs, I think.
Let's have a look at that. Agreed. On the figures, shall we? Let's have a look at his RPR. We gave him we gave him 164 plus. Of course, he was giving Tyne Hill £3, so the level weights there. So theoretically, a lot of people this week saying surely Paisley reverses the form on the level weights. Well, of course, we've got this slightly younger horse, haven't we? Don't forget Paisley Park won this in 2018. Was pulled out last year. Why? Because of the heavy ground. Well, obviously we know he suffered a defibrillating heart in the World Hurdle, Stayers Hurdle, of course, now at Cheltenham. And I think now he's an 8-year-old turning 9. They're just going to let him get on with it, aren't they, basically? Emma Lavelle had a welcome winner at Hereford in the week. It looked like she was going through a bit of a lean spell. No worries there whatsoever. I think perhaps he ought to be favourite, just on the book. I think perhaps he ought to.
I mean, normally they are, aren't they? The kind of the defending champs like Paisley Park, people go, well, you know, there's a slight heart kind of familiarity that goes with these horses. You think, well, he's the one to beat, so we'll definitely have to put him in slightly shorter than Tyne Hill. I mean, for every positive, or it could turn around the form, there's a negative the other way, isn't there? Like I said, Tyne Hill's younger, but was probably suited by the way the race was run. It turned into a bit of a sprint, I thought. And you know, Tyne Hill was in a better position. Paisley Park wants a pace collapse. Paisley Park's experienced at the track, and Tyne Hill probably hasn't faced this bad a ground either.
Well, he's never been right-handed.
No.
And whereas Paisley Park is 2 from 2 on a right-handed track. I looked into Roxana, your hopeful second leg of the each-way double, which you're about to call. Looking forward to that. And she's been twice. She's won 14 times. She's 5 from 12 on left-handed tracks. Now, we'll get Mattie's opinion on this in a sec. But she's run twice. Once in the Coral Hurdle last year when she was fancied behind If the Cat Fits. didn't fire at all. And whether she was quite the same horse last season after that mother and a father race she had at Aintree with that rival and Apple's Jade, you remember. But I really like what she did at Wetherby, basically. There's a mare's allowance as well to take into account. But is this a thing? I don't know. She's also run at Sandown behind Bouvedere, albeit over 2 miles. She ran actually all right that day. Yeah. Is this a thing? Time Hill not gone right-handed. Roxana not really proven herself on a right-handed track. Main Fact has done all his winning on left-handed tracks. Although, as David Pike mentioned to me yesterday, when he wasn't quite ready at Exeter, before he went on this great run, when they came back, he ran particularly well there. Were you thinking too much about this?
I think sometimes you can overanalyse it. There is definitely horses out there. You've got to consider horses are very much like humans. Some will favour different legs. So going right-handed, they favour that leg. And there's plenty of people out there who do both, a bit ambidextrous, but yeah, I think you can look too much into it. And sometimes trainers, more or less, you're looking for a race that suits more than a track, because sometimes it comes to light that they might not go on that track, so you try something different. But first and foremost, you're looking for races for horses before you sort of going down the track route.
And there are more top-class left-handed tracks that are all right.
Well, of course, that is, and especially on the Stayers route as well.
Yeah.
Ross Bryce, so Roxana for you, solid?
I mean, first things first, I absolutely love the staying hurdle division. I think it gets a lot of bad press for, not good enough to go over fences or too slow to win over this, but every single 3 mile graded race is a cracker, in my opinion, and I really like the way that horses can progress out of the handicap ranks like Paisley Park did, like Main Fact's going to try and do. So I think it's always a fascinating grade, but I think Roxana, this is a 3 mile form is fantastic. She's raced 3 times over this trip. She's finished second to Santini and If the Cap Fits in grade 1s, and she bolted up at Wetherby last time out. And I don't think she's spent most of her time racing over shorter, but I think her best form's over this trip, and I think she's going to get the perfect race run to suit. That £7 allowance is a big one, I think, given her rating. And as Darren said, I thought 6 or 7 to 1 earlier in the week each way was an absolute steal, and hopefully the Skeltons will have a double.
Yeah, they're certainly in red hot form, aren't they? Mattie Batch.
I think my heart's going to rule ahead here, because I thought Paisley Park was a good run back, and his owner Andrew Gamble just absolutely loves his sport. And
Midas at one point, wasn't he? Andrew?
Yeah,
everything he touched. Horses on the flat, it was just all top class.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Time Hill is probably the up and coming new kid on the block, but I'd love to see Paisley Park win again.
So that's the Mattie Batch selection.
Yeah.
Now, you're close to Dickie Johnson. Has he told you much about Time Hill? If you watch back that Albert Bartlett, which Darren was alluding to, you've got Monkfish, who looks like he's going to be an RSA horse, worldy over fences, basically. You've got Fury Road, who's come out and won a Grade 2. Fury Road had the perfect run in that. He's shown that form to be right. You've got Latest Exhibition, who looks like he's got a big one in him over fences. We know he's a decent horse. And, of course, Time Hill, who was mullered, wasn't he, in the run. He hadn't been seen since December, since winning, albeit a below-par Challow Hurdle at Newbury. That horse that runs, whoever turns up at Cheltenham that's not run since the turn of the year, has a slight, sort of penalty on its back because of that. I think there's so much to take out of it. If you watch the replay, do it now on your members section. Dickie Johnson goes over the line. We were chatting about this in the gallery yesterday. He punches the air like he's won it. He's actually furious, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because of what would have happened. He's obviously showed himself at Newbury. If you can, as Darren mentioned, if you go back to that Newbury comeback, he's probably just about the last off the bridle with McFabulous, who slight drop back in trip looks perfect for the Cleve, doesn't he? I think this is a serious horse going places. They are slightly worried about the ground, I believe. But has he mentioned this horse to you?
He likes this. He loves this horse. These are the sort of horses that get you up in the morning. Like Dickie's rode good horses in the past, but that's what keeps you going season after season, and just keeps that hunger there. And this is one of his favourites, because it's a Saturday horse, and he's a world hurdle contender. So he's
if he wins this Time Hill, then he's going to be, he's going to be one of the bankers of the
world.
world.
He should win the world hurdle, shouldn't he?
The world hurdle, the Stayers hurdle every year tends to go to the 1-1-1 horses, your big bucks, your Thistlecrats, who unfortunately doesn't take it up. I've gone for him because I believe in him, I think. And he's by Cave Tara. I run some stats on Cave Tara as a side. Most of his winners do actually come on heavy ground, so I'm not that worried about it, but we'll see. Carruthers, ring that bell. If it's not Imperial or a King, it's Carruthers, isn't it?
How long did that take?
Yes, just under an hour.
Just under an hour, Matt. You're
I'm
improving.
disappointed. That's
Pretty good
Well, the
going.
flag is up then for the long walk hurdle. 2:25 at Ascot. Great luck. Well, let's hope we're giving you some pointers along the way. It's going to be fun calling this one home. Ross Brierley, he likes Roxana. Let's go to him.
Yeah, the long walk hurdle then. In theory, should be a good pace because in theory we've got a few front runners here. The World's End, Portrush, Ted and You Never Call should be on the speed, and they do line up on the front of this 8-runner race, and not going a mad early gallop. They're not going crazy out in front. And first to lead up is the World's End, last year's winner from You Never Call. Portrush Ted, third win, just a little bit keen. Roxana held up last with Paisley Park in front. Time Hill just on the inside. And then on the outside of that is Main Fact. But actually, they've kind of let the World's End do his own thing here out in front. Worked last year, of course, in a much smaller field, but he's got better horses to beat this time around. Portrush Ted, You Never Call, Main Fact, third wind, Paisley Park and Time Hill, and then Roxana is last. But
quite keen.
yeah, they are. I mean, again, they're not going.
Roxana, I mean, she's quite keen.
She's a bit keen at the back.
I'll tell you, if a jockey tells you that a horse is keen, having had Charlie Poston here a week, 2 weeks ago, they must be really keen. They're the last people to tell you that a horse is keen is a jockey.
Well, I mean, like I said, on paper, it looked like there was 3 front runners here, and given that 2 of them are owned by the same connections, it did look a bit strange that they would run both of them. But Portrush Ted's actually just said to the World's End, you know, you can do what you like, and he's getting on with that in front. But we were expecting or hoping for a better gallop, I think, because the 4 big names are hold-up performers.
It's interesting, isn't it, that Aidan Coleman on Paisley Park is tracking Time Hill just as the World's End seems to put down the anchor slightly as we go on to the far side. Of course, we've got a long way to go, Mattie Batch, but Paisley Park, famously is a horse that hits a bit of a flat spot and then kicks into top gear, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That is very interesting that they're conserving him, I think, for the final run. Shows they are slightly worried about the ground.
Yeah, they are a bit, and as well, if you can see from the jockeys' positions, like they're not going that quick. Dickie's just sort of got his hands up a little bit just to keep bringing Time Hill back, whereas Coleman, he's got his hands on the horse's neck. He's nice and relaxed, and in this ground, it's invaluable. It's saving energy all the time. Whereas Roxana and Time Hill, the jockeys, you can just see them. They just keep taking a bit just to try and get them back a little bit. Like they're running with the choke out a little bit.
With that in mind, Darren Hughes, how's the market reacting?
Yeah, it's pretty much even Steven since the off there, Dave. Time Hill holding his price. He was EBSP to 2.49. It was a big move for him pre-race. He's currently trading at about 2.5. Paisley Park 3.3 from a BSP of 3.55. Roxana 9.8, BSP 9.4. Main Fact 8.6 from a BSP of 9.76. So as I say, pretty much even Stevens. The World's End 46 and 58. BSP given he's given a soft lead, but really there's no change so far. Over £1 million match on the race.
Let's have a word about Main Fact then, Ross Brierley. Just go past the stands for the final time then. A little bit keen, but Fergus Gillard keen not to let the front runners get too far away.
Yeah, again, but I mean, he's going to have to do a slightly different thing, isn't he? Because he's used to them going flat out in big field handicaps here, so he's having to go a slightly different pace. I mean, people talk about a championship pace, but this is a championship pace, but at the same time, it's also absolutely not, isn't it? But in front, the World's End is still lobbing along for John Joe O'Neill Jr. And so far, there's been very little change. But kind of no surprise to see Time Hill shorten up a bit in the market because, like last time out, where he was in the best position to take advantage of the way the race unfolded, I think Dickie Johnson got in the back of his mind, Paisley Park's going to hit that flat spot again. We need to have gone by the time he gets going.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think if you've backed him, you'll be very happy with those tactics if they play out. Everything's basically going all right. Still a bit keen, Mattie Batch. Roxana out the back.
Just a little bit, yeah. You can just tell by Harry's body language. He's just trying to get her really to switch off, really. She hasn't really switched off to my liking. She's just...
She's jumped. I mean, Paisley Park's just made a mistake there, but she jumped absolutely beautifully.
She's jumped fine,
She's a horse they like to wait with as well.
Yeah. She does come
at Wetherby,
from
she did something similar.
Yeah, and she won under hands and heels from last to first at Wetherby, so it is obviously something they try and employ, but they're going to start to go through the gears here. The World's End, You Never Call, Portrush Ted struggling out wide. Third Wind, who we have to mention as well, who of course was second to Main Fact, and that form does look pretty solid. Could well turn around the tables here with that weights change. Main Fact not hurdling particularly fluently. Paisley Park still on the heels of Time Hill. Portrush Ted has dropped out the back and is probably going to be pulled up at this rate, but it's still the World's End, last year's winner, in front. You Never Call, Time Hill. Main Fact is just behind Third Wind, who's making a few positions there with Paisley Park, who hasn't quite hit his flat spot yet. Roxana still on the bit out the back, as we've seen. She has been a bit keen, and she has flashed her tail in the past as well, so she's obviously a bit of a thinker. But the World's End now going through the gears, and Darren, yes. I think this one's gone a lot shorter than it was pre-race, put it that way, no surprise.
He definitely is, yeah. He's trading about 9.4, 10.0 from, as I said, a VSP of 58.8. He's really starting to wind it up there in front, and they haven't got to him yet. No real panic signals from the ones in behind is the only thing. Time Hill trading around 11-8, Paisley Park 5-2, so they are holding their price. The World's End just a small bit of a drift now back out to 20s. Roxana 6.2, Main Fact 7.6. Portrush Head gone, You Never Call 29, Third Win 17.5. We're in for an interesting finish here. The World's End starting to drift now as they do come up to him again. As I said, no panic signals in behind. This should focus on the top 3 or 4 in the market.
Now we're winding up. We're about to get to the home turn. Mattie Batch, have a look. They're all starting to play their hands.
I think Paisley's hit his flat spot. Just got nudged out of there from Roxana.
This is where the class of Time Hill's going to come into the fore, I think. He's still on the bridle here. Ross Brierley picking up off the home turn.
You Never Call still in front then, but here comes Time Hill, who's swinging away. Roxana's going through every gear behind him.
Paisley's
it looks
in
like
trouble.
It might well be between these two. Paisley Park looks beaten. The World's End still going, but You Never Call in front. Here comes Time Hill and Roxana.
Go on, Dickie, get him up.
And here comes Time Hill to take it up.
Come on then, you classy individual.
Time Hill versus Roxana, still on the bridle behind. Roxana's come back on the bit. Time Hill, You Never Call, and Roxana. Paisley Park is running on as he always does, but it's Time Hill. You Never Call, Roxana. Here comes Paisley Park.
We're in for a stormer. Go on, ping it up.
Time Hill pings it. Roxana comes through to throw it down for the Skeletons. Time Hill, Roxana, Paisley Park. Time Hill's pulling out more now. Time Hill is pulling out more. Paisley Park is running on. Time Hill in front. Paisley Park throwing down a challenge. Time Hill is tying up. Here comes Paisley Park to get up for the Lavelle team. And beats Time Hill and Roxana back in third. Paisley
what a finish that was to the long walk hurdle. Paisley Park is back.
He's back.
Well done, Mattie Batch. I said he was in trouble for turning home. Darren Hughes, what did the market say?
Jesus Christ, that was... he hit a high of 130 in the run for a couple of quid there. 15 quid match to 65. My God, what a horse. That was absolutely exceptional. Absolute carnage in the in-run and market. Time Hill hit a low of 107, 108 for over $4.5 grand. Roxana, she hit a low of 244 for a few quid as well. As I said, Paisley Park, a high of 130 in the run. My God, what a finishing kick that horse has. He looked in awful trouble. I'm surprised he didn't hit higher than 130. He looked in big trouble. He was nudged out. Looked like he couldn't even hold his position. And then those afterburners kicked in and whoosh, just came and got them just on the line, just in time. You'd have to imagine the new course at Cheltenham would play even more to his strengths. That was an absolutely fantastic race to watch. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yes, absolutely right. I mean, you could dissect so much about this. You Never Called has run an absolute blinder because he was up there all the way. The World's End's done his absolute best. Third win, considering he's graduated with a handicap company. Far from disgrace. They'll be going back to the Potemps surely with him. Main Fact, story in the race, we'll get to that. Absolutely dropped in a hole, didn't he? Where will they be going? Will it be Potemps for him now? Just watching the last, he winged it, Paisley Park, Mattie Batch, didn't he? Was it that early exuberance that's just cost him at the business end?
Who paid...
Time Hill.
Time Hill, it could be, yeah. I think he's just these last 150 yards.
Some finish that,
isn't it? That's why we're in the game.
It's just treading water a little bit. Brilliant. I think it's with the early pace, in pulling, and the heavy ground might have just found him out. I think.
Yeah.
We've gone 7-2 from 5 to the stairs hurdle, lads. He's now 7-2 outright for the stairs hurdle. To me, that would look very, very fair because Time hit a lot going right from there. Paisley Park had a lot going wrong from. I can only imagine him improving for nicer ground and a stiffer finish in Cheltenham in March. 7-2
I'm not sure about that, Dan, which makes it all fascinating. I'll tell you what, the previews they're all going to be online this year, I'd imagine, but they're going to be spicy with this World Hurdle. This is with Stayers Hurdle. This is exactly what the division needed.
Well, the better ground might help Time Hill as well. So it makes it very interesting. I don't think it's a done deal.
I definitely don't.
Definitely
think. I mean, there's a head in it at the line.
That's the first time Time Hill has run over that trip in that ground in a truly properly run.
For me, the inexperience was still there with him a little bit. You called it earlier on.
Yeah.
And I think on the inside, and the way that Dickie can now ride him, Dickie Johnson, knowing that he gets every yard of that trip, I think there'll probably be a little bit different on him. Really good jumping as well. Roxana's run an absolute blinder, isn't she? Considering this was really a much sterner test than Weatherby.
Yeah, it was again that the mare's allowance, the fact that she'd run 3 times over this trip, and she had to have a chance. She had to give her a crack at this race. But I think Mattie, called it early on. The keenness, I think, has probably cost her, because when you're asking to go through the gears, she's just used a bit too much of that gas, and time Hillard.
He wasn't happy pulling up then. See that?
Who's that, Dickie?
Yeah.
Oh, not again. This horse is doing his nutting, isn't it? First at the Albert Bartlett, he was absolutely livid. If you remember the festival they were having as well, they got touched off, didn't they, with Pylon in the conditional race or whatever it was, and they just had a terrible. And that was the highlight of it, I think. Do you think he's left something on the table? Then? Is that what he's thinking?
He just didn't look happy there. I don't know if he thought he'd hit the front too soon.
Yeah,
he didn't look happy when he pulled up there.
When you're a jock,
yeah,
and you've got a horse that's last off the bridle into the home straight, and you've been done ahead at the line, having attacked before the last or at the last. What are you thinking to yourself now? Do you beat yourself up a bit?
You do, yeah. You do, because it's a long way from the last to the winning line at Ascot. And whenever you get beat like that, doesn't matter who you are, you're always going to question yourself. You're always going to
joint fads for Cheltenham, lads. Joint fads, 7-2 joint fads.
I think they have to be.
Yeah,
I think, Darren, that's absolutely right. It's on the sports, but what are we talking, 7-2, did you say, Darren?
7-2 joint fads, yeah. Okay. Joint fads, time Hill and pays the park.
Listen, we've got to move on. We've got to move on, because we go to the Tommy Whittle. Can we whittle it down in here? I like Lord Napier for the Bowen team. I think he will eat up the ground. Just a little experience at Chepstow will play to his hands. Mattie Batch.
I like Hill 16. Nigel Tristan-Davis's won his last 2.
Massive improver, isn't he? Ross Brierley. Ross Brierley, where are they in the market, I'm being told? Absolutely. Let's get the market up on the screen. Darren Hughes can tell us. Ross Brierley, I'm going in reverse order here.
I'll go with Sam's Adventure, who I think, again, going through the theory of horses who've gone through terrible ground. Brian Ellison, heavy ground chasers, 5 from 11. 23 quid level stake profit. This horse absolutely loves a slog in the mud, and he will relish every second of this. But I do think Hill 16 is the biggest danger.
Not as much as you love a stat. I'm going to give you that one.
Absolutely.
Darren Hughes, complete the quartet of tips in this.
Yeah, look, the one I opted for, I'll just give you a quick rundown of the market first. So Darren obviously 3.95, Hill 16 4.8, Lord Napier 11.0. Don't see too many Galileos jumping fences, but there you are. And Guard then 10.0, Highest Sun 10.0, and Roll Again 14.0 and at 16.5, and bigger the rest after that. The one I opted for here was Guard for Dr. Richard Newland. He won, it's his first start over fences. Sorry, he's run over fences in France. First start over fences in Britain. He won a novice hurdle up in Newcastle the last time, and I think that form is actually a fair bit stronger than it might be given credit for on the face of it. The time read very, very well, and his previous effort, the time read very, very well as well. So he's put up 2 very good efforts on the clock. He looks like he's absolutely all stamina. All he did was stay and stay and stay. Newcastle is a fairly sharp track, so the testing ground here shouldn't be an issue. And obviously, if this is going to be a stamina sapping contest, so he got a mark of 126. I think he's going to prove a fair bit smarter than that in time. So we're going to go the win and extra place market here, because I do think the front 2 are fairly formidable opponents. So if you can pull up,
you better hurry up, Darren. The price is collapsing for Engard.
Is it, Jed? Look, we go 30 there, 30 quid. So at 8.6, please, Ross. Yeah, he was 10.5 there a second ago. Look at it.
He literally was.
I doubt it's my words that did that now, but there you go. We go 30 quid in the win market, please. He's just gone 9.0 there again. So we'll put it up at 9, see if we get matched at 9.
Shorter notes next time, Darren Hughes. Shorter notes. That's the lesson there.
Bet on, then explain. I think.
Can we talk?
Can we go to the 4 place market then and have a score at 2.04 for the 4 places as well, so we get most of our stake back, or even take the evens there if you can get evens for 4 places.
Tommy Whittle then time it is. Thank you, Darren Hughes and Ross Brierley, putting on that trade. Actually they're taking their time. Listen, what are you going to take out of the Long Walk Girdle? We've got time after the next race, the Silver Trophy at Ascot and the last there, to talk about all the opinions out there. What a highlight. It's one of the centerpieces of the whole jump season, that Long Walk, and it did not disappoint. But now we go to another long-standing handicap. This is, this has been won by some absolute sloggers down the year, some real favourites indeed. And will it be the front runners that hold sway? I'll take this call, shall I, Ross?
Please, I need to come down. Park.
You what, Darren?
Have we got the trade match?
The most important thing, have we got the trade match?
You're on at 8.8 to win and 2.04 to finish in the 4.
Lovely. So
brilliant.
You said you had a nice unexposed one for us. You absolutely have, haven't you? And no love for Sojourn out there, which is interesting. The Honeyball and Rex Dingle. Rex Dingle's a good little lad, isn't he?
Yeah, good lad, yeah.
He's got a big future ahead of him.
Big future, yeah.
Yeah, so he could have a good job in him. So, and a bit of pressure on him for this, I think, because he's one of the best backed horses of the weekend. Pop Rockstar, colleague and friend of the show, assistant betting editor, Graham Rodway likes that one. To bounce back from a disappointing run here last time. Kevin Brogan, another young man, having a very good season as well. Lord Napier, the reason why I like him, guys, is because he's well in on his hurdles form, and there's a big one in him, I think. I just don't want him to get too far back. So as the flag goes up, good luck in this year's 2020. Tommy Whittle up at Haydock. They are off and running. And Highest Sun's the one that's going to anchor out the back. Puppy Power taking him out the back. The rest of them, there's a fair old run on into the front. Roll again. Well, unsurprisingly, a Venetia Williams horse getting on with it. He likes to under Robbie Dunn. Robbie Dunn absolutely mustard in these staying chases, isn't he? Already a reminder, Ross Brierley, for Sam's Adventure. Little wake-up call for him, nothing to worry about. Lord Napier up there as well. Crix's Escape, progressive horse. Will he see it out for Sean Quillen? He's up there on the outside. Interesting, this outside route for Sojourn. Hill 16, full of himself back over hurdles as well. Also in the middle of the pack, we've got On Guard. Putting it up, how will he approaches these fences? We will see as they just go out onto the far side for the first time. Pop Rockstar on the inside and Salty Boy out the back as well. Ross Brierley, initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts are Sam's Adventure giving a reminder down the inside. It's not necessarily a double whammy I was hoping for, but yeah, we've seen over the past few weeks, haven't we, at Haydock over this trip that you don't want to be too far away, so Roll Again's getting on with it. But interesting to see both Sojourn and Hill 16 go very, very wide here, as we saw in the last race. It certainly wasn't the worst place to be. And now we're just seeing Robbie Power also track over on Highest Sun and Crix's Escape. So you can kind of draw a line through the middle, and those 4 are the widest of all. And given what we were saying about the ground, that might well prove to be important come the death here. But Roll Again out in front. But I think if you're on, to be fair, I think if you're on anything but Sam's Adventure, you're happy.
Which, of course, you are. But you're each way double's safe, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You're each way double's safe. So, all right, man, get on with it. So let's go to Mattie Batchelor. I'm talking about getting on with it. Usually at Haydock, sometimes you see something go tearing off in front on this gluey ground, and the ones right out the back really struggle to even get any sort of bridge in. Unusually for a staying chase handicap at Haydock, Matty, they're pretty well bunched.
They are pretty well bunched. I think that's it. They've been watching the races earlier, and the boys would know this. And I say, in this ground, you can't be too far out your ground. And as you say, a blanket looks like it covers all of them, really.
I'd be very keen on Lord Napier now, guys, who's just taken up the running, actually. I think he is a horse. If you remember when he won at Sandown, he's a graded handicapper, this chap. And he's very interesting, I think, for a team that have quietly got themselves back into form this winter. James Bowen, one of the top boys around. I love the way he's taking.
He's an improving type, isn't he?
Oh yeah, big time. And like I say, it was just about getting him jumping. If you watched it back, that video at Chepstow last time when a progressive horse got away from him, as they started going quick, he just lost it out, and he was running on again. If you're on Sojourn, he's taking a back run. That is the well-backed favourite. Again, everything going all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were on Sojourn, he'd be the one I'd be slightly concerned about, because he was a lot more prominent at Carlisle, and he's won in small fields in heavy ground, and he's kind of been up there on the heels of the leader. So I don't know whether this slightly different test is just taking him a bit out of his comfort zone, but he's just dropped back a couple of places. Lord Napier, as he said, have taken it up from Roll Again. Now, Encard, I think Darren's pick has got a lovely sitting behind them, Hill 16, and then Highest Sun trying to make a position as well. And you do get races at Haydock that go off the front, but I'm just brought to mind, remember Broadway Buffalo won this on the bridle from last to first a few seasons ago, so it can be done with the right kind of horse from the back.
I think absolutely. And if I was James Bowen on Lord Napier now, Darren, who's out in front, I assume the market has reacted, or do they think he's a bit keen? I'd be looking to press on.
I personally thought he was a little bit keen, but the market has reacted very, very favourably. He's the 3.95 fav at the moment, Hill 16 4.4, Sojourn 4.5, Engard 9.4, Highest Sun 12, Roll Again 36 from 21, Sam's Adventure 13 from 17.8. So the market is largely static, but they really have come for Lord Napier. I personally think he's pulling a little bit too hard to see this out. He's travelling nearly too well, as you'd nearly say. But the market seems certainly to be fond of what he's doing at the moment.
You've got to be happy with yours when you're On Guard.
Yeah, he's jumping well. Like that was my fear, because I hadn't seen him jump over fences in public. You need the one start over fences in France. He seems to be jumping okay, and as Ross said there, he's a good sit. So we'll see how we go over the next mile in a bit.
They're very well schooled in France, so they're schooled at a very early age, and they know their job.
3-year-old chases in France, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. They're 3-year-old chases, and
Dr. Richard Newland as well.
Yeah.
He's a well. I don't want to steal Rob Way's thunder, but he's a genius.
You know, he gets them. He gets them incredibly fit as well, doesn't he? So there's no meat left on them. Put it that way.
Grand National
with
an ex-French.
Oh!
Roller has gone hampered. Highest Sun then.
I'd like to take back my criticism of how Sam's Adventure's going, because actually he's kind of got himself into the race, and he is a bit of a heavy ground lolloper.
Fickle pocket talker, you.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I mean, I called it fairly early, to be fair. It's a 3 mile
like
1.5
99% of punters in the land. Of course. All right, then they're concertining up on the back. They're starting to lift this gallop a little bit. Whoa! Pop Rockstars have not been done anything.
We've
lost Griggs' escape. Carnage all of a sudden at Haydock. The horses are up and the jockeys too. That's good to see. As Lord Napier still going well out in front, I'd be happy. But Sojourn, he's taking a finer interest. Absolutely wing that one. Lord Napier. Oh, the loose horse has gone. Pop Rockstar has been hampered. Mattie Batchelor, who do you want to be on?
Sojourn's going really well at the minute. Travelling well. The horse behind it. What's that?
On guard.
On guard, yeah.
Guard's gone.
Commentator skirts again. That's twice. Look at Highest Sun here. Oh my goodness gracious me. Dan Walsh in the gallery was saying, I've got to be on this horse when it wins. He's absolutely sauntering into contention.
Yeah.
He can't, can he?
I think he can. The way he's going, he's certainly got a chance. Sam's Adventure's also still in it as well, running on from the
Darren
back,
Hughes mentioned Hill 16. Straight away he comes off the bridle.
Yeah, Salty Boy involved. So Sean's
he's not having it, is he? He's not having it at all. Okay, listen, they're approaching the home straight, then in we come. That is a really sharp turn, isn't it, there? And Lord Napier still the one to catch. Come on, James Bone. Press, this all stays. Sojourn, though, got him in his sights. What will Highest Sun find? I'm wagering not a great deal. Ross Brierley, 3 out. You've got to be getting excited.
I've got to have a chance here. Sam's Adventure's surely got a chance here as well. Down the inside, he loves a soft ground slog. He's still going. He's still on the bridle for Brian Hughes. But it's Sojourn versus Sam's Adventure. Again, Brian Ellis does have an excellent record in these kind of races. He's looking behind him, Brian Hughes, for challenges.
It's Salty Boy. Goodness gracious me. This would be an outsider in the pack for Mr. Mitchell Bastian, and David Bridgewater's got the conditional coming up. They're over 3 out. Lord Napier backs out of it. He was too keen. Sojourn's on the bridle. He's having a little look. Is he going to just absolutely take him apart? Brian Hughes now goes for the stick, which means he has got very little in the bonnet. 2 go clear. Sojourn. Was that the last?
I'm not sure. Back on the bit.
2 out. Highest Sun's done what Highest Sun does. Found nothing. Here comes Sam's Adventure. My goodness gracious me. Ross Brierley at the last.
He's back on the bridle. He doesn't do a lot when he hits the front there, so let's hope he finds
it up his absolutely Gamble landing for Ross Brierley. Happy days. He's pricking his ears in front. Sojourn's trying to come back. They're pulling clear, but this is Sam's Adventure, who's given a reminder before the very first bench. Perseverance pays off. Brian Hughes showing why he is the champion jockey. Fantastic stuff. Sojourn didn't quite get home in the conditions. Salty Boy an admirable third. Highest Sun, the frustration continues.
That reminder's won in the race.
Absolutely. He said, look, Ross is back to me.
He was livid as well, wasn't he?
He was livid. The toys were out and everything.
Why have I come down here?
Look, there's a reason why I spend all my time in this rather than on one of those. And that was again, he just loves to lollop around in heavy ground. And, you know, these races are won by horses who just keep plugging and plugging and plugging. And you talked to last year when he won, was desperate ground. And he's relished it again today. It's so testing at Haydock.
Remind me about this horse. I must admit, I haven't looked at his back class. This is also one of those bumpers at the start of his career. And Brian, when he gets Brian Ellison, when he gets these horses. So that was some call, Darren Hughes, wasn't it? What's his Betfair SP?
His Betfair SP was a very tasty look at 17.8.
Oh,
so,
aye.
Early on, you wouldn't have been happy. He did hit it high at 26. I think he got a slap down the shoulder fairly early doors, but he came back into himself. Pretty quickly. Sojourn here as well. He hit a low of 1.3 in the run, looking travelling very, very well. Just slightly outstayed by the eventual winner. Lord Napier, he hit a low of 9-4 in the run.
Wow.
Again, he was travelling nearly just too well. You know, in them 3 mile races, you know, you nearly don't want them to be so enthusiastic.
Doing too much.
Really well.
I wouldn't give up on him, actually. I wouldn't give up on him.
No, far from it.
Lucky he listened to Dave and said, kick on. You're a circuit to go. Kick on.
Cavalry was behind me.
Oh my God. They've had to send out the horse box if he kicked on that early.
Absolutely, Mattie Batch throwing me under the bus, quite rightly too. I was like, come on, we've only got a circuit at Haydock to go in every ground. What's wrong with you, man? I think he probably did lead on sufferance a little bit. We're having great fun here in the studio. I hope you are out there as well, watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Facebook Live as well. It all was so nice and polite, wasn't it, for the first circuit? Unless, of course, you're Ross Brierley. Your horse gets a reminder after the first. He hit 26 in the run. You didn't get a sniff of that.
No, I didn't know. I mean, I laid half my stake back as well. I was just like,
aye. Christmas has come. So. Christmas has come.
But I mean, you wanted me to get emotional, David. So I just think it's boiling hot in here.
It really is.
I just need to back a double figure winner in bad ground during the winter, and I'm awake. So it's all good.
I'll tell you what, we've had more emotion from you in this show, haven't we? Where have you been hiding it, man?
I think myself as a flat man, but I've tipped up 2 winners in heavy ground handicap chases today, and I'm starting to question my entire life.
You're anything but flat today, my man. You're anything but flat today. Right, come on then. That was the Tommy Whittle. Well done if you weighed in with Ross Brierley. He's been on form, hasn't he?
Brian Ellison now. 6 from 12, 50% strike rate heavy ground chaser. So I'm not saying he's got many, but deep midwinter, Brian Ellison, these kind of horses.
Nice horse yesterday, one at New Toxteth. Thinks has the best in his stable. Tupelo, Mississippi. Elvis's birthplace, he told me. Elvis's birthplace. There you are. So anyway, look, he's got some nice young horses to come up. Brian Ellison, it doesn't matter what season it is. You know that he's going to be targeting horses successfully. And really enjoyed that race, actually, no matter what you're on. Salty Boy ran a blinder, didn't he? He'll go down in grade and be winning soon, I would imagine, as well. Brian Hughes, what a champion he is proving to be. Will he follow up, do you think, this year? Or do you think there's something... who else is up there? Harry Cobden's got something to say about that, hasn't he?
Cobden, yeah. I think all being well, staying injury-free, I think it's Brian's to lose.
That's great news, isn't it? Yeah. Because he's got the asterisk, of course, if you remember. They stopped after Cheltenham, didn't they? So to get one in its entirety would be fantastic for Brian. Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Let's go back down to Berkshire then. We bid farewell in 2020 to Haydock Park. Thrills and spills all the way. That was great stuff. But we've got the Silver Trophy. Good luck, Ollie Darling, Spotty, the sporting personality of the year. And unsurprisingly, the conditional's not going to go off favourite here, according to Betfair, Darren Hughes. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a bit taken aback myself with this, Dave. Yeah, Espoir de Guy, I think is the correct pronunciation, rather, for Charlie Joyce and Venetia Williams coming here off the back of a win is the 4.3 fav at the moment. The conditional 4.9, he was trading at around 4.0 overnight. Ard left in 7.4, Correntin 9.4, Regal Encore 10.0, Preferred Bear 10.0 as well. So lovely competitive heat here, but I'm going to look to take out a chunk of the market here, and I'm going to look to lay 3 horses in the market in a consolidated lay. So, Ross, if you can take control of the cockpit there and hit the pink button for Espoir de Guy.
Espoir de Guy, yep.
Quarenta.
Yep.
And Regal Encore, please.
Regal Encore, his beloved Ascot. That's a shout and a half, isn't it?
Well, that is a surprise, yeah.
Big surprise.
But put the bet on first. Put the bet on first, Darren, before we explain. We've learned that lesson.
You don't want to miss the prize, Darren.
Yeah. So if you hit the payout button there, and we'll go for over the blue, hit payout.
I'm trying.
Max payout. Yeah. It's a bit fiddly at times. You got it. 50. If you type 55 into the box there, that should give us a liability of about 50 quid.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 55. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Liability should be 49.69 or 50 quid or thereabouts. If you hit place bets there, and we'll take those 3 out of the market for us.
Sorry, let's. We'll try that again.
Right.
Where do we go? Corenta, Regal Encore, Espoir de Guy.
I know you're not keen to lay the Regal Encore. You'll have to just get over it. Sorry now.
The computer's not letting us do it.
I'm only messing.
Betfair representative pulling rank on Ross Brierley.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair.
Yeah, we all good?
There we go. All good.
Great
Excellent.
stuff.
Happy days.
Once again, you were spellbound there. The camera picked that up.
I just can't believe he's laying Regal Encore around.
No, last year's winner, of course.
Yeah, last year's winner.
Came good last time.
Comes to life round here as well.
You and Darren have this out. Come
on, Darren. Explain, please. Explain.
Yeah, look, I just thought he was worth taking on. I thought the conditional was a worthy favourite, but it's just to highlight this aspect of the exchange that if you take a dislike or if you take an unfancy, let's say, as opposed to dislike the 2 or 3 horses in the field, you can take them all out of the market. You can lay them all in one consolidated way. So we've taken the other 60% of the market there.
Just double check, by the way, I put in 50 quid payout, not liability. So you've got currently 21 quid profit across the board. Is that what you have to?
That's spot on.
Just checking,
spot on. That's what we're at.
So Darren, Regal Encore, yeah. So that's only just to win, not out of the 3, just not to win, is it?
Not to win. That's right.
All right. Okay.
Right, not to win.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah.
Right, so okay, that is.
This is what we're here for. It's exchange education.
Listen, quite right.
You learn about
it
now, Matty.
Loads of different ways to play the game, aren't there? Absolutely, and it is that sort of race, I think. So Darren's nailed his colours basically. I thought the conditional was one of the better plays of the day. And Richardson, or however we name him, earlier on in our opening 150, he ran well in fourth for the Bridgewater team. The other horse, they had a horse, was it Salty Boy that ran well for them as well? Was it Salty Boy? It was. Look, the team were in form, and it was such a good run in the Old Hennessy, wasn't it, in the Ladbrokes Chase? Yeah. And that was his first run of the season.
Bridgie said he'd come on for that run.
Absolutely. I don't think the ground will be too much of a problem for him. He's 50-1 for the Gold Cup. He wants to be going very close in a race like this.
Well, I looked into it because again I thought, what is he a soft ground horse? But he's actually he's only raced a few times. But if anything, he's better form because on the softer ground. Yeah. So it might well be that. That Newbury run, because he travelled like a dream at Newbury as well.
He always does, doesn't he? I think they'll adopt the inside. I think they'll have a plan for this under Brendan Powell, and I think he should be clear favourite, actually. That's my way of looking at it.
He did look like a horse at Newbury that did just think he would come on for it.
Yeah. And it's a big ass to win that race.
Yeah, and walking around the paddock, you could just see, he just thought he would tighten up for that run for me. And as you say, Bridgie's, as he said before the Ladbroke, that he's going to come on for it, and he's very bullish in the paper today about this horse as well.
Yeah, you are. Of course, you can get that in your members section if you need to be reminded. Go back and have a look at that. Like I say, he's just such a lovely horse, and he's won in heavy ground. He's got no problems with right and left-handed. He's a strong traveller. He'll see out every yard of this. Like I say, I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up at a ridiculous price in the Gold Cup. I just wouldn't. Last year's Ultimate winner, of course, at the festival. Who's your pick, Matty?
I did like the conditional, but I do also like Aspire Diggy as well.
Who's his rival in the market?
Yeah, won here last time as well. So yeah, they're rivals for a reason.
And we know you like Regal Encore because you've
is it? Yeah, especially around Ascot.
Two-time winner of the race, of course, isn't he? Yeah, I should say one. So he's gone up in the weights, but as we were saying earlier in the gallery, he used to be quite a bit higher. Ross Brierley.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Regal Encore as well. Again, I think an interesting thing about this race, when you look at it again, we've talked about Ascot favouring those on the speed, apart from the Stayers Hurdle, the long walk, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of obvious pace here. So Regal Encore's often on the speed, but struggling to find too much that really wants to make this a proper test. So I think Regal Encore will be up there. Again, he loves the track, he loves the ground. He won this race last year after pulling up in the Ladbrokes Trophy as well, so there's no worries that poor run last time out will...
He's just an Ascot horse.
He's just he's every single one of these races you just run him in and he always goes off decent prices as well.
He tends to go out the outside, doesn't he? And give him a good sight. And
as wide as you want, sit in second behind whatever's making the speed and just keep going and hope that nothing gets
Twiston
past
Davis might make the speed. They're normally like they're around.
They do, yeah. So
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, hence why I said the Twiston Davis.
Falberg
was
Oh, lovely.
Falberg was that's that emotional intelligence.
He's back.
Which I have none of.
You're a chump jockey, man. No one was expecting you to. Okay, so what about this chap then with Darryl Jacob on? Looking down, I've actually got to look what colours he is. I'm assuming that he is second run.
Yeah,
he's got PPPs next to him. So Sub-Lieutenant 66-1. And speaking to Graham Rodway yesterday, he said that this has got a chance. I said, has it?
Three-time Grade 1 winner. He's a Grade 1 winner.
He actually wasn't bad last time as well, was it? It's the first run for Georgie Howell, I think, who's on a 54 losing streak. In fact, I couldn't find a winner for her. So this would be a big story, wouldn't it? Flying Angel, a horse that has his supporters. Mr. Malarkey's in there. Good Ascot form, of course.
I think you've got to mention Ardlethan as well. Given I said about the Skeltons earlier, they've had three runners. They've had a winner and two horses hit the frame.
Yeah.
Benny's King, the hurdle in the first. They had the third there, and of course Roxana's on a blinder. So they've clearly, picked five big chances today, and Ardlethan is starting to look pretty attractively handicapped. Really,
he is. The reason why I just don't see him beating the conditional. I watch it back at Newbury last time. I thought to myself, is there something in this where he might reverse it? He is. I'll tell you what, the conditional's on the bridle when he's being heavily pumped.
Flying Angel, is that the real King going sort?
I don't know about that. Is he?
Is that what I'm getting mixed up? A Twiston had one. It had a good engine, but it was used to run with the choke out a little bit. I didn't know.
Who was that out there? Do you know who Mattie's talking about out there? Need some more social media comments. We're coming up to our little down tool time as well, where we can talk about all things going forward. Who do you like in the King George? That's what we want to hear from as well.
The only thing I'd say about Ardlethan is that he's just significantly more unexposed in the conditional. It's only his third handicap run here, so He was a 3 mile point-to-point winner in soft ground. He was a 3 mile hurdle winner in soft ground. So be interested to see how he lines up again, because it wouldn't surprise me to see them do very similar tactics than they did with Benny's King. They know how the track's riding.
Beat Lisnagar Oscar, of course, when he won his chase. So that was, of course, now the staying hurdle.
He's an unexposed 7-year-old chaser from a yard who are in red-hot form. So
when I saw the conditional getting weight from the likes of Espoir de Guy and Beware the Bear, and not so much Regal Encore, but some of the others, I thought, there's some badly handicapped horses in this race. I just think he's got another £10 to come, at least, the conditional, I think. And I don't know. I think I'm going to be pretty disappointed if he's not going to win this.
I mean, he's a great back to lay as well, isn't he? We were talking about horses earlier who are always in the mix, travel well. The in-running player's eyes are going to be drawn to the conditional. He's going off 5.3. Surely he's going to trade half that in the run if he's in the chance.
Let's get a final word from Darren Hughes then on the market.
Yeah, again, pretty much even Stevens here. Espoir de Guy 4.2, the conditional 5.3. I'd left a few quid around for him, 6.8. Correnta 8.8. Regal Amcor 10.5, pretty much holding his own. Where the Bear 9.6 from 10. So yeah, interesting race ahead.
Are you keen to go forward?
It looks like they're just lining up to go up.
They are indeed. We haven't seen too many full starts, have we, this season, which has been very good so far.
It's not Cheltenham.
All right, or the National. OK, let's go over to Ross Brierley. It's call them home in the penultimate race at Ascot.
Off and racing then here for this listed handicap chase. Let's see who lines up. So there wasn't any obvious pace. Regal Encore's usually there, and he is an Ardleith. And we mentioned the Skeltons, and they know how the track's riding. And he's kicking on with Espoir de Guy. Out the back, the unpronounceable Faubourg Rossegris has made a mistake there. With Beware the Bear, and the conditional is buried down the inside. But it's Espoir de Guy and Ardleithen. And Ardleithen's gone at the second. Ardleithen crumbles for the Skeltons. Beware the Bear and
he's
up,
horse. Harry. He's up.
Gets out of the way. But yeah, that was it just did not take off in time, and Harry Skelton limps back. But Espoir de Guy now given a quiet time in front as Master Malarkey and Regal Encore nearly unseats his rider as well.
Just reached for it a little bit.
He did a bit behind
drama
those.
In the trophy.
Yeah, not much jumping here, but I mean this is great. If you're on Espoir de Guy, you're very happy because the way the track's riding and everything else is jumping, you're in the right position here. That said, he just levelled into that a little bit, but it wasn't too bad a jump. But we've now got a line of 4 with Sub-Lieutenant, Regal Encore as wide as he likes to be, Master Malarkey. Behind those is Flying Angel as well, the conditional, Corenta, Faubourg Rossegris, and Beware the Bear is very last at the moment. But there's 4 of them just trying to go through the gears here, but... I think if you're on the conditional, Dave, you happy?
A very happy Mattie Batchelor, who's got the
happy.
inside all the way around. He's tracking his main market rival, who is being softened up a bit.
Yeah, he's saving ground, as you say, he's jumping. The few in front are just taking themselves on a little bit. Deutsche just took a little bit of a pull there, but he's travelling well, jumping well, Espoir de Guy. As I say, conditional's in a great position.
Espoir de Guy doesn't jump that very well, did he?
Just reach for that again, didn't he?
He's just been a little bit sticky at times, the condition. If I was being ultra critical, perhaps he'll warm up a little bit. Correnta's got himself into a nice rhythm as well.
I was going to say he's got himself into a nice position, but again we've seen that mistakes do prove costly on this chase course at Ascot. So you need to jump well, and you need to be on the speed. Regal Encore is in the Regal Encore sit there, isn't he? Wide as he possibly can be, on the speed, travelling well. Espoir de Guy on the inside, Mr Malarkey, the conditional moving up, Super-Lieutenant, Flying Angel, Beware the Bear is being ridden, Corenta is starting to come into it as well, and Faubourg Rossegris will hopefully not be involved in the finish for pronunciation purposes. But if you're back to
another P, please.
Apologies, Simon Mania. But turn into the home straight then. With the circuit to go here, and it's Mr Malarkey in front. Darren, what's the market doing?
Yeah, Mr. Malarkey, a few quid from him, 8.2 from a BSP at 23.9. Espoir de Guy, they're a big fan of him. He was at as low as 3.25 there about a half mile ago. He's about 4.1 now. The conditional holding at price 5.0. Corenta, the one for money, 6 from 8.6. Regal Encore, 8.6 from 10.5 after that. Juddering mistake. Beware the Bear, the market has fallen out of love with him. He's 26 from a BSP and 9.4. And Flying Angel is also half the price. He's about 7 from 14.5. So, yeah, look, the few sticky jumps here. I'd agree with you, Dave. Would be a little bit more critical of the conditional. He's been a little bit sticky at 1 or 2, but Espoir de Guy looks to have a lovely sit.
Hopefully it's a little bit like Al Arch yesterday in that novice chase. Did you see him, who made a winning debut? He looked special, doesn't he? He didn't jump. I wonder if he just wants to go a little bit quicker, the conditional, to get himself into a rhythm. Am I talking tosh, Mattie Batch?
No, not at all. But do you know what? In this sort of ground, he's doing nothing exuberant. He's just getting in there. He's doing what he's got to do. He's getting in and popping. And that's saving energy in this ground.
Yeah, okay.
As you say, when the revs start going again, that's when he comes into his own.
It does look like they're bypassing the last fence again from what we saw there in home straight.
My
goodness,
that
was worse than the
conditional.
conditional. Surely, Darren Hughes, the market has not reacted favourably there.
Yeah, not as big a drip as you'd expect. 6.67 from 5.5, so he looks to be back on it again. We'll forgive him that, provided he doesn't do it again. Espoir de Guy shortened up off the back, but naturally enough, 3.7 from 4.3. So fingers crossed we can get them to start jumping a little bit better than that.
I think I'd want to be on Corenta here if I was on one now, Ross. I think having looked at the conditional, I think he's going to have to be that sort of that proper graded performer to overcome these mild errors. I think Corenta's in a lovely little rhythm.
Well, I mean, and Regal Encore, that's it. Every single time he runs at Ascot, he occupies exactly the same space. I don't know if the market is going to react to him being wide, but he's always wide. He doesn't like to be hassled by anything else. But Mr. Malarkey's got himself into a lovely rhythm here as well. Harry Cobden has won a couple of times on him, generally on better ground, but he is he also ran last time out at Newbury.
Conditional's in a bit of a better rhythm now.
He's woken him up a bit, Matty, hasn't he? Absolutely. Brendan Powell's woken him up. The moment I said about Corenta having a blinder, he hit one as well, I think, a little bit. Okay, over to Ross Brierley. We were at around about 5 out.
Yeah, Mr. Malarkey then, Regal Encore, both of them in nice positions. Flying Angel, Corenta. Espoir de Guy has lost his pitch completely and looks to have shot his bolt, but Mr. Malarkey now in front. Regal Encore throwing down his customary Ascot challenge. Sub-Lieutenant, the one we mentioned earlier, is running an absolute blinder down the inside. Mr. Malarkey pings that one. Regal Encore gets over it nicely as well. Corenta's dropped out. Espoir de Guy's dropped out. Flying Angel's dropped out. And here comes Faubourg Ross Agree as well.
He's on the
bridle. Into him from the back. But Mr. Malarkey is still going great guns out in front. He does have track form here, and it's been hard to make up the ground. So is anything going to get past Harry Cobden, who also is very good with this kind of ride as well? Mr. Malarkey and the conditional, we were saying about him trading out of it.
I'll be really disappointed if he don't win this now.
Conditional wins.
Come on, surely.
Come on.
Espoir de Guy, I said he'd shot his bolt. Well, he's found a second bolt. Mr. Malarkey, Regal Encore, the conditional. Espoir de Guy down the inside.
Go on, Brendan.
Mr. Malarkey, the conditional travelling like he normally does. Come on, boy, Regal Encore, Espoir de Guy.
What a sight. She come round Ascot on the bridle.
But it's still Mr. Malarkey they have to get past. Harry Cobden gives him a reminder.
He'll get past him in a minute. Don't you worry about that.
Mr. Malarkey still in front. Mr. Malarkey, Regal Encore. Surely the Ascot legend has got a chance here. Mr. Malarkey in front.
The
conditional. Regal Encore going through the gears. Regal Encore, the conditional, and Mr. Malarkey. Another good jump from Mr. Malarkey.
Come on, conditional.
Regal Encore, the conditional, going through the gears.
Brendan.
They haven't got to Mr. Malarkey yet.
Come on,
the conditional
Come
between
on,
the two.
Come
on,
Regal Encore, the conditional.
Come on, the conditional.
Mr. Malarkey.
Come on,
Brendan, get it up, boy.
Come on there, boy.
Come on,
Mr.
Malarkey.
Mr. Malarkey.
Brendan, don't stop now.
Mr. Malarkey.
Mr. Malarkey's finding.
Mr. Malarkey. Mr. Malarkey is breaking the hearts of everyone.
Never been so disappointed to call the winner.
Mr. Malarkey wins over at Ascot, beats the conditional, and Regal Encore back in third.
I don't know, there's a little bit of...
Oh, that bubble's burst.
There's a little bit of Mr. Egg going on there, isn't there? Yeah, listen, what a comeback that is for Team Tizard. Mr. Malarkey, they thought he wanted better ground. It's just got into a rhythm. Staying chase up from the front. We've seen it again. The conditional, I don't know. Did he just leave a little bit back there? If you watch him just after the post, he sort of runs on again a bit for me. Does he wear cheap pieces for a reason? Am I being a bit harsh? He was a bit sticky in the run. I don't know if you go onto the bridle there. Regal Encore's on an absolute stormer in third.
He has run an absolute stormer. But again, Mr. Malarkey, he didn't get into any rhythm last time out whatsoever. He is a course and distance winner in the past as well. And Harry Cobden just got him into a lovely, lovely rhythm. He won round Kempton and he looked a really nice type back in February. So again, we were talking about horses going left, going right-handed, horses for courses. Kempton and Ascot do suit these kind of tactics over fences. And I mean, I know, given the way Mr. Malarkey had jumped, I thought bypassing the last was actually going to be a negative for him, but he's pulled out plenty under pressure there.
You'd think it would have suited the conditional, wouldn't you? But perhaps just that jump would have kept his interest up.
The conditional's he's got to within a sort of ahead of him. He's then dropped back.
For sure, like he was going to go by and do it.
But then he's made up ground again when the race is
just watch as they go past the line, which we can see in. Look, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's just I don't know. I think he's leaving something behind. But look, what a fantastic
I don't know if their mistakes
horse.
might have taken their toll towards
Very
the
possibly,
end,
very possibly. Listen, what a great horse the conditional must be to train and own. He's always thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah.
I would love these horses, over a couple of seasons that turn up to the big handicap. It'll go up another couple of pounds, but back on the left-handed track with some better ground, do not rule him out. Could he go to something like the Classic Chase at Warwick next month, which we will be covering here on Racing Post Live?
I mean, Mr. Malarkey, you talk about horses, going back, in reverse chronological order, this is obviously Ascot. He's run at Newbury, Ascot, Cheltenham, Kempton, Sandown, Ascot, Newbury, Ascot, Aintree, Cheltenham, Ascot, Newbury. Plumpton 2008, November 2018 was the last time he was in a proper race. So, he's to win 2 or 3 is pretty damn good going, isn't it? And of course he was it the he won the Reynolds-Town, didn't he?
He won the Reynolds-Town, and then he went to Kempton, didn't he, last season and beat Black Corton, if you remember, in what used to be the Racing Post Chase, of course. Perhaps that's now the target for him. As I keep mentioning, you can see all the post-race comments on your members section. Tomorrow's paper is online, of course, from 6 p.m, digitally, of course, 9 p.m. as well, for you to read up if you don't want to go down the paper shop. OK, so one more to come. At Ascot, we've got the Betfair.
Not sure we're going to make it.
Well, you've got a breather. You've got a breather. It is warm in here today, isn't it?
It is very
Usually, warm. Look at Mattie Batchelor. I think first time he came in, you were in a vest, weren't you?
In a vest, string vest.
Now you've got all the layers on. I don't know what they're doing. They're playing with us, I think. I know it's winter out there, boys, but I'll tell you what, I wore a thick jumper, but anyway.
It's been a long year as well, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Has
it?
Does it really feel that long?
It feels...
Indoors with the missus, it's been
a long...
I got nowhere to go. You were delighted at coming up here today.
Oh, yeah. The late call-up, I would have run up like to make up the train.
The only person happier than Matty was his missus.
Yeah, she's delighted.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
OK, right, we've got one more to come. I've been asking you for your King George 1-2 or your 1-2-3s. Have we got any coming in? That would be great. I think Serename will reverse form in the Boxing Day showpiece with Clan de Zobo. We do have a couple. Who's going to kick us off? Let's have a look on the screen. And it's Ben Heyman. Oh, Serename Ben. Happy days. I think that break, the fact they went into Charlie Hall, it was a bit of an acid test for him, wasn't it? Does he go left-handed, obviously, was the thing, but does he really get 3 miles? If you remember, the first time out last year behind Altior, it sort of bottomed them both a little bit. Watch back, again in your members section, you can get all the replays. Watch it back last year. Clan de Zobo has become the real stout stayer. He ran really well on his return, didn't he? And Ross Brierley, I know, thinks that he will get it in the bag again. But I think that Harry Cobden will be riding him slightly differently, and that little bit more of a break, it works out for me. I ran well, didn't he? Of course, in the Ladbrokes Trophy, he's a worldie, isn't he? Who's next? Ben, I'm with you all the way.
I think Surname, you could see he was beat early doors last year. He just didn't look happy.
He didn't lead over the first.
No, he didn't look happy.
Surprise. Damon Moffat comes back on the show. First, Clan de Zobo. Second, Monolly. And third, Serename in the King George. Come to you then, Darren Hughes, for this. Monolly. Do you get annoyed, Darren, as an Irish pundit, with people always coming to you when it's Irish horses? We tend to, I used to work when we did it and things like that, They'd always be like, just because I'm an Irishman, doesn't, I love British racing as well.
It's like coming to you for the French pronunciation.
Ask me about Fogut to whatever it is. We've probably got a couple in, haven't we? Arrivederci. Oh, that's Italian, of course. He's going to be favourite for our next. Monolly, we'll get Darren's one on that as well. We've got one more coming in, I'm told. Dave Winder comes in. First, Monolly. Second, Clan de Zobo. And third, Serename. Can Monolly burst a bubble? Again, another one of these horses that hasn't quite shown up yet, Darren Hughes.
I backed him. I thought he was a big price. You're looking at the market there, and I think this could cut up quite badly. So I've backed him each ways, and I think this could literally be the dead 8, maybe even 7 runners on the day. Good to see Betfair Ambassador Paul Nichols at the 2 joint favs, obviously Surname and Clan de Zobo. He's a man that knows how to train a King George winner. If you ask me to pick the most likely winner, going to my head, I'd probably say Surname. I do think he's coming in here a much better prepped horse than he did last year. That's not to say Clan de Zobo isn't without a chance, far from it. I don't think there's a whole pile between them in terms of the most likely winner. I really don't, but it's just that's going to my head. So Monolly would have a chance. I thought his run in Thurles was fine. He ran okay. I think that's actually decent enough for him behind Presenting Percy, who I think is a cracking chance of this year's Gold Cup. Never thought you'd hear me say that, but there you go. Monolly, he probably just hasn't put it all together yet in his career. You're kind of waiting for him to really, to land a big one. But I do think he can upset the apple cart. Obviously, he has the help of Rachel Blackmore to do it as well, who I don't know whether she's ever ridden around Kempton before, but she's a dab hand. I mean, she can turn her hand to any track. I'd have no fears with her, right? So I do think he can potentially upset the apple cart.
Okay. There we go. So surname, but Monolly as well. So look, a lot of love for Monolly. This wasn't rehearsed. Darren's actually backed him. So the perfect man to ask.
A rare Irish raider in the race as well these days.
It is. Yeah.
They normally stick to Leopardstown, don't they?
You know, you used to have some very good Irish horses coming over, and it might cut up. The market is really interesting, isn't it? Because if you think it does cut up the market, Darren's not giving a great deal away. It's not in the full sort of, just over 2-1 the pair at the moment, isn't it? What price is Monolly on the sportsbook, by the way?
Well, I just have the exchange open here in front of me. Clanda's Obo's 3.1, Surname 3.2, Monolly is 9.6. I think he's about 7 to 1 or 15 to do in the sportsbook. I'll open it up here now. But I'm just looking down. I have the exchange open here in front of me. Just looking down at Lost in Translation probably will run. Real Steel will run. Kenboy almost certainly won't. Alaho almost certainly won't. Rodon is an unlikely runner. Vindication, money you might know, does he run? I wouldn't think so. St. Calvados might run. Mellon almost certainly won't go. You're really struggling for runners there. I think this could end up being a 6 or 7 runner race. So if you like one, so the one being Monolly, you could back him each way now with your 3 places anti-post. He could be the one to side with.
We'll get Ross to get the King George market up so we can have a good look at the exchange as well. It's interesting. Lost in Translation you mentioned there. There was a piece in the paper, wasn't there, this week with Team Tizard saying we have every confidence still in Lost in Translation. Went terribly in the race last year, didn't they?
Yeah, shocking. Yeah, very.
I don't know. I'm surprised they're going back there. Maybe the fact they know that it was a definite excuse time. Never mind the track. Yeah. He's won at Carlisle. He's won left-handed, isn't he? It was right-handed. Sorry.
I mean, it was his third. He obviously won at Haydock. So it was his third run. He's gone to Haydock fresh this year.
What price is he at the moment? Around about 10 to 1, is he on the exchange? Yeah.
Do you think they've learned their lesson and they thought, well, we left our race at Haydock last year, so we're going to.
Well, have they not done that again? I mean,
no, but they ran at Carlisle last year, didn't they? So he got the gas out of him. Went to Haydock, went through the gears, and then
if you remember when we were covering that on this show this year, we did say, is he a horse that needs a prep run? I just thought it was a little bit underwhelming at Haydock. Okay, maybe he hasn't had that hard finish there. Whatever you do, look after them. When you've ridden, your Carruthers of this world, the big horses that you've ridden, Matty. If there is, a Gold Cup target or whatever their national might be, do trainers say to you first time out, whatever happens, don't get into a battle, don't get into a slog. If he's beaten, obviously don't beat him up or whatever, but is there, or do they say, look, whatever you do, we want a nice run here? Or
not so much. Your first run, most horses, especially older horses as they get older, they're going to need their first run. So they say, look, run on your merits. If you can't win, there's always another day for him. So say, don't beat him up. There's always another day. There's a long-term target. So just sort of, it's not so much as though you're going to go out there to win every race you run in. But them first runs, again, they can take their toll, and you can give them too much of a hard race, and it could sort of affect the rest of the season.
There's not too many King George winners, I imagine. The Trends boys out there that don't have the 1 next to their name, or certainly 2. I imagine that's pretty big trend to hit, isn't it? I don't know. I was a little bit underwhelmed. Were you underwhelmed with Lost in Translation? We saw in the Gold Cup, though, of course, when he bounced back, looked like he was going to win that. Some people thought he was unlucky, of course, in that, Ross.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, in terms of if you take the Gold Cup as an angle, he shouldn't be 8-9 to 1, should he?
No.
He should be challenging for favouritism almost. So if that Lost in Translation comes back, then
it's a good each way price if you look at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talent-wise, I think he's got every right to be there at the last, hasn't he? But,
well, and we've just seen, we've seen, for example, we've just seen Mr. We've literally just seen a Tizard horse win a 3-mile chase over at Ascot, and
with a slightly unappealing profile coming into the race.
Off the back of a poor run last time out. So it's they're not idiots. They're very good at this kind of horse as well. They know what they're going to need, and I do like the angle that last year. If they came back after the King George and said that was 1 too many and the Haydock run just took a bit too much out of him, they have changed it up this year. They're not doing the same thing again.
No.
Final decks, of course, for the Kempton Showpiece out on the 23rd of December around about 10 a.m. Fingers on the buzzers. Will it cut up? Well, great to hear from some of you out there. Yeah, let's hope Monolly does indeed come over. We've got Real Steel in there as well. St. Calvados, we haven't seen him this season, have we? Frodon's another one that could well bounce back in that as well. He's quite interesting, waiting patiently. The best named horse in training, isn't he?
Real Steel's an interesting runner for me.
Yeah.
On a flatter, easier 3 mile.
He liked the track, I think, a lot.
Yeah. It's clearly he didn't stay.
Yeah.
The extra. People say, I think there's people wins our Gold Cup, which has 3 more, but that extra 2 furlongs up that hill, it races change in an instant. And 3 out, he's always going to be thereabouts, and then all of a sudden just out like a light. But Kempton is going to suit him a hell of a lot better.
And again, there used to be this thing, didn't they? Because of the one mans of this world, because of the I don't know who's the Azertiep, of course, who ran it. Edredon Bleu, of course, who won it. You know, there's always been this obsession to turn the top 2 milers into a King George horse. Altior, of course, who was thought to be last year's King George horse before he left it behind Surname as well.
Champagne Fever and horses like that.
And there you are. So it tends to happen year in, year out. Now, since Clan started getting on it, a Q Card, Thistlecrack, etc., it seems to have gone back to a proper stayers race. I mean, they go hell for leather in it, Matty, as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it's like made the fact there, Edredon Bleu. Now, when he was a proper 2-miler, then direct route in the Queen Mother Champion Chase, but he was one of those horses. You can teach a horse to get more stamina, and he was that sort of horse. He was a good 2-miler, and he was quick, but he was one of those horses that would listen to you, and you could get him to come back. He wasn't like go off 100 miles an hour. He had speed, but you could control it. So that's
about when to use. You know, it's just using your energy in a different way.
Of course it is. I mean, you can't make horses or humans. You can't make them faster. You have to have natural speed.
Yeah.
But I do believe that you can turn quicker horses and make them get stamina and make them last that little bit longer if they've got it in them. Like your 2-milers, like Sprinter Sack, he's just pure speed. Now, trying to step him up into it would be
a disaster.
But horses like Edredon Bleu, even at home and in the race, he was one of those laid-back horses, straightforward, that you could teach him to stay and get stamina into him, and that's why he won a King George.
Oh, the memories, fantastic stuff. Great insight from Mattie Batchelor. We will be here with you on Boxing Day. Do not fear. In fact, right throughout the festive period, we'll be here with you on New Year's Day. And much more to come in 2021 from us. Listen, we haven't got race goers at Kempton. It's going to be a weird experience. You won't get atmosphere anywhere like it in here. If you want the atmosphere, you've got to be watching Racing Post Live on Boxing Day. The King George, some thoughts there. Shall we turn our attentions to the final race of the afternoon then at Ascot? It is the Betfair Handicap Hurdle. This is seriously competitive stuff. Darren Hughes ran about 11-2 the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Arriva Dirty for John Joe O'Neill Jr. and John Joe O'Neill Sr. is at 6.6 at the moment from a high of 15.5 overnight, so strongly fancied for an inform yard. We then have Benson then, he was on remember him from the show a couple of weeks ago, Dave, he broke both for a heart, but made Graham Rodway's day 7.0 for the good doctor and Gavin Sheehan. Time flies by then for Nicky Henderson, he's a bit of a drifter, 10.0. Buzz then for Jeff Stafford, good friend of Betfair, 9.0 at the moment. Belfast Banter, he was one for money overnight, 16s into 9 in the sports book, he's about 12.0 at the moment. Malaya 15.0 and Ice State 19.0, and of course the highlight of the whole day, the Betfair Exchange hurdle.
Okay, so what is the play? What is the Darren Hughes play of the day?
I'm looking to get after one here, and I'm looking to get after Time Flies By. Look, he has drifted from overnight, but I'm really not a fan of this horse. I think he's far too short for the price that he actually is. Or sorry, for the market he has, I beg your pardon. I know he obviously can improve, but I am keen to get after him. So we're going to lay him in the place market. It is 4 places, but we're going to try and get after him. So he's currently trading at 2.78 to back and 3.05 to lay. So if you type into the box, we'll go for a keep bet here, Ross, 2.84. And we'll hit liability, and we'll put up a liability of 50 quid.
Very well. That is put in at 2.84.
Yeah, so
it's immediately been swamped by...
It's immediately been swamped. They can have it. Because I honestly just think this is a horse we can get after quite well. And it's just, again, it comes back to what you can do in the exchange. If you take a real unfancy to horse, similar to what we did the last time, we landed the consolidated lay the last time, we got the 3 horses. If you really don't fancy a horse and you don't particularly want to lay him at, he's 10.0 to win. A lot of people don't want to lay a 10.0 chance. But if you really think this horse his chance it doesn't reflect his price in a negative way, you can go after him in the place market at a more punter-friendly price. So we've laid him there 2.84 to be out of the front four. So fingers crossed, we'll see what we get on.
Fortune favours the brave, Darren Hughes. Absolutely right. And going for time flies by. Yeah, interesting horse. I mean, it's the connections, I think, isn't it? That people are expecting slightly more. When he won that bumper on his debut at Cheltenham, everyone thought he might be the next Worldie, the next My 10 to Yours, if you like. He's got a bit to prove for me as well. Don't really see why he should be that short. Don't see why he should be shorter than Buzz, which is Mattie Batchelor's selection. He really won well, dear, last time, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was impressive. He'd done it easy enough. Step up in class won't bother him, but it is ultra competitive. You got Kid Commando dropping back down in trip, which was suit.
Yeah.
I'd give Botox Has another chance. He finished 4th at Newbury.
In a funny race.
Yeah, funny race. Gary said probably the track wouldn't suit. This track is suiting better, and the softer ground will help him. So I'd give him another chance because I did like him before. So
this is a very competitive race, isn't it? Yeah, this is a sort of race. Gary hasn't won this sort of race for a little while with this sort of horse, but he made trust me, he was extremely good about 15, 20 years ago at landing this sort of pot, and at Ascot and Newbury in particular.
And Arrivederci was travelling well before he fell.
Yeah, this is my pick actually, Arrivederci. I just. That warlord form, isn't it? And we don't really know about him. It's far from ideal coming in off the back of a fall. But if John Joe Neal can get him into a rhythm, I know there's a good one in this horse. That they think there is as well. And I quite like the fact this will be a stamina sap at 2 miles. Pace Angle in the race, of course, not so sleepy, who absolutely took this apart last year. We all saw what happened in the fighting fifth. Will he be on his best behaviour, Ross Brierley?
I mean, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd hope that he would. I mean, it didn't do Silver Streak much harm, did it, last week? So
well, of course, he came out and run really well. Yeah.
If anything, not so sleepy. He's like, I didn't really fancy Newcastle. I knew I wouldn't beat her. So.
What am I doing up here?
Yeah,
it's a long way up here.
Yeah, he'd already set off back home by the time they finished.
He's a talented right-handed tool, isn't he? Not so sleepy.
He is. Yeah, I thought you were talking about me the other day. But he's
which bit, the tool or the toe?
A bit harsh, isn't it?
I'll let you decide, mate.
I think he's talented.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Not emotionally intelligent, that we know.
Yeah, the thing for this race is that you talk about pace angles. There's potentially a lot of pace in here this time around. Last year, Not So Sleepy had the time of his life out in front, but Kid Commando is going to be out there. What else have we got? Master Debonair is going to be up there as well. So you've probably got at least 3 or 4 proper pace angles. So, like you said, in theory, it should set it up for horses with a bit of back end stamina.
Such as?
I just loved the way Benson finished last. I mean. You said about breaking your heart. I watched that race back again, and I still wasn't quite sure that. How has he won like this?
About 4 out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was going to get into it.
Yeah,
and then he's a bit of a powerhouse.
I mean, if he finishes, that's a Paisley Park-esque finish earlier on, isn't it? That kind of back end finishing stamina.
If you read Kevin Morley's 10-year trends, he's the only horse, according to Kevin, that ticks every single necessary 10-year requirement of the past 10 winners. Benson, he's a 5-year-old. It's just whether it's I just thought to myself, is it a bit too obvious? And it comes only a fortnight after. A lot of these horses would have had their first run in October, thinking there's one place we want to be, and it's Ascot in December for this valuable prize. So.
I do know what you mean, but you could argue the other way that Arrivederci maybe might have already got up the handicap enough to get involved. Buzz has also been pummeled by the handicap.
He got put up £2 Arrivederci for that.
Yeah,
I thought it was still a fair way out, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he would have been involved.
It's harsh when they do that. Very harsh.
Yeah, it was. I was speaking to Dave Pipe yesterday, and he was bemoaning the handicapping system quite a bit.
What about? Did you talk to him about Night Edition?
Yes, he said he was 10 days off where he wanted him to be. Another horse that on the trends ticks a lot of boxes. Good question,
Second in a Fred Winter, wasn't he?
He was second in a Fred Winter. The form of that hasn't really worked out.
So
Dave Pipe
if he runs on the 29th of December. We're going to be all over him then.
So, if he comes out 10 days later?
Yeah.
I think it's a great shout.
Good shout, yeah.
But make a note. But
the trainers do say that, don't they? We just had, if this was just a week or two late, I think it'd be absolutely ideal. And I put it to him, the fact his 2 best runs, even though he has one at Ludlow on a right-handed sharp track, his 2 best runs have come at Cheltenham, surely, coming from Pond House, the Pipe team. They're looking at the county, aren't they?
Well, I mean, I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't remember what there is on. Is there anything on New Year's Day? I mean, we're talking 10 days off.
It's Cheltenham.
Yeah, I know. Is there a handicap for him then?
Well, you'd think with a horse like this, that would be too soon to bring him out, wouldn't it? But yeah, and he has taken a right walk in the market, hasn't he, Night Edition?
And possibly too close to Cheltenham. Because you wanted Cheltenham horses literally before Christmas running, didn't you? Maybe.
You think so?
It all depends. Sometimes I always thought that. I remember when only agreed one at the December meeting. I said, don't run him in January. We can go straight to the festival. We've got nothing to prove. And then ran in January.
Just left it a little bit behind.
We didn't.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah,
changing times in the training ranks, isn't it, as well? And of course, if you hadn't run since the turn of the year and then went to the Cheltenham Festival, when Bobsworth won the Gold Cup, I very famously said, "Later festival." He's not been seen since the King George or whatever. And of course, training methods since then have been revolutionised, and he slogged it up at a famous hill there. Horses that we haven't mentioned in here. Did you give your selection, by the way? You did, didn't you?
The main one is Benson, because I just love the way he finished. The speed figure of that Sandown race for a horse off this mark was pretty damn good. The one who kept annoying me at a bigger price was...
I've got an annoying one.
If you've ever got an annoying one this race, you haven't been betting long enough. But there's always one of these types, and Oakley is the one for me.
Yeah, Paul Keeley likes this horse, I know that.
He's a tough horse to win with, but he always runs in these kind of races. He loves soft ground. He's a bit like Mr. Malarkey earlier in the sense that he's running in consistently hot handicaps, and he went all the way down the inside at Wetherby on his return, which, as we've seen, Roxana and Warlord and Riva Dirty, recent Wetherby winners have run today, all went wide. It was the worst ground at Wetherby down that inside rail, and he still kept going for third.
That's interesting.
And the Hobbs team are in significantly better form.
They've hit a good run of form now in the last 2 weeks. You said, I think the strike rate was...
It was at least sort of 20 to 25%.
They are running sharply, I think, aren't they? And he's had one run here, of course. It was behind Not So Sleepy when Not So Sleepy arrived on the hurdling scene.
But he needs a gallop and didn't get it that day.
Yeah, OK. So
what about the Irish horse, Darren? You know much about that?
Belfast Panther, yeah, he looked to be a bit of a weak finisher a couple of times. I bet him in a novice hurdle earlier on in the summer. Look, Peter Fahey knows the time of day. He's not sending them over here on his holidays, as the old trope goes. And the money for him this morning was interesting. Especially in the times we're in, to send a horse over to Ascot at all, from a relatively small yard like his, that probably does point that they do fancy him. But his finishing, his finishing efforts on a couple of occasions would really put me off, especially in testing conditions coming up the Ascot Hill. But you wouldn't know if they have him absolutely pitch perfect for today. He could well go in. He did come up the Galway Hill, so as in the Galway Hill is every bit as stiff as the Ascot one. So who knows? He got the customary £5 penalty for being an Irish horse in England. But sure, look, we'll see how he goes. Fingers crossed.
Oh, well, that's not worked out too badly in the past, has it? Let's face it. Of course, Gordon Elliott took this out. Was he the last Irish trained order to win? Yeah, Bayan, of course, with Gary O'Brien, and Cause of Causes won it as Voyeur as well. I've got an annoying one in here. Tom Segal put up, of course, Belfast Banter as well. That's 1 or 2 for Tom in this. I've got an annoying one in here, and it's Cormier. There's a big race in this. I put him up in the Greatwood Hurdle, but he just got too far back. Was it the Greatwood Hurdle? It was. Too far back. Brian Ellison, we've seen him win the Tommy Whittle, of course, with Sounds of Adventure, haven't we? If Daryl Jacob doesn't get too far back, watch for this chap. Ground, not a problem, despite the fact he's a graduate from the flat. He loves the deep surface underfoot, and he stays really well, so I think the track could suit him. I just worry about him getting a little bit too far back. That's what's putting me off. He's the sort of horse that in running, if I saw him after 2 hurdles taking a nice keen interest, I'd be keen to get involved.
Well, we're talking about the Ellison runners. November, when he ran behind the shunter, it was, when were we talking? Yeah, 15th of November. So he was 0 from 32 in November, Brian Ellison, and he's had 2 winners in the past 24 hours. So if Cormier's running like the rest of his stable, he's got to come on for that, hasn't he?
You can't keep a good man down. I did the stats for this in the week. I tried to cross lots of them off. Benson was up there. Time flies by, actually. Does hit a few stats as well. Malaya hits a stat as well for Harry Cobden and Paul Nicholls. 11 to 1 shot. First time tongue tie. Course and distance form. Darren Hughes, any love for Malaya?
Yeah, a few quid knocking around from him. He's currently trading at 17.5. He was a high of 19, but he was also a low of 11.5. So he's kind of just holding his price. Arriva Dirty quite strong at the front of the market, 6.8. Benson 7.4. Money for time flies by, unfortunately. His place price is a bit lower now than what we laid it at, 7.6.
Do you want to go in again then, Darren? Would that let's talk? I mean, as a player, when you're looking at this, if you're ordinarily just sitting at home watching this now, are you tempted to get involved at a lower price or not at all?
To be honest, it does depend. It's like the inverse would be if you fancy one, say at 5 to 1, and it's 15 to 2 or 8 to 1 in the exchange, you could be tempted to go in again. So I suppose then the inverse here with delay, would you be tempted to delay at a lower price? You probably would. I'm happy enough to leave this one as is because he is somewhat unexposed. I just thought he was worth taking on, but I'm not mad to go fully after him. But I suppose it all depends on your outlook, because then Lane's just back and not to win, so it's the same thing as back one when it goes out to a bigger price than what you did back at initially. He's on the drift now again. He's 9.4, 9.6, so we'll see how he gets on.
Okay, then, and they're lining up at the... Are you going to call this one for us, Ross?
Yeah, I'll call. Yeah, sure. Why not? Absolutely.
Nice, easy race for you to call.
These are easy. I get bored in the smaller fields, like I said to you.
You get emotional at the moment as well.
Yeah, me too.
Who ever thought we'd see this? Unbelievable scenes. Ross Brierley.
If Benson powers home, then yeah, I might pass out.
Don't worry, I'm here with the oxygen, my old son. That'll be fine.
One more to mention would be West of the Bridge, who ran last time out. We were talking about the Skeltons again, apart from Ardleton in the last.
You're a fan.
Well, they're just having a good day, aren't they? But this was the main fact race. This was the horse that was swinging away coming to the final hurdle and just didn't get home over 3 miles. But really interesting, dropping this horse back down to a strongly run turn.
Third Wind hasn't harmed that form today at all, has he?
No,
Despite
not
the
at
fact
all.
the main fact fell in
It's a big drop as well.
Hughes dropped down, yeah.
Final race then we're coming to here on RP Live before we go into Christmas quarters and we come back to you on Boxing Day. Really looking forward to that, but this is an absolute belter. I've covered, I'll tell you what, I've covered another one in this as well, just while Ross was talking, the Isolate for Alan King, who won this a couple of years ago with a horse whose name escapes me. Just get it up. Rare Star, of course, remember him, good as me, back in 2010. There's a big prize in this horse, and I don't know whether
for the Noel Feely Racing Club.
And indeed, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be hearing a bit more from them, Noel Feely, over the Christmas period at the Racing Post as well. Watch out for that. So they're lining up, and I'll tell you what, they're all pretty keen to get on with it at the moment, Batch, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a few that's going to go forward. They're all rustling around for positions.
I mean, it looked on paper, it looked like it was going to be a proper burn-up, and I noticed that we were just talking about West of the Bridge, held up dead last.
Right at the back, along with Isolate and Cormier, as expected. Belfast Banter at the back as well. Is Not So Sleepy going to get his own way then? Let's over to Ross Brierley for the final race here before Christmas on RP Live.
It looks like he's going to be keen, doesn't he? Skelton's is sweating up. He's on the forehand. He's like that.
He's very I mean, he was on the bridle for 90% of that race last time out. So
he just looks keen walking in there, doesn't he?
He's gonna run pretty much ideal, and the strong pace in theory should suit him nicely. Arrivederci just loses his position as they jump off into the home straight. Lightly Squeeze and Not So Sleepy taking each other on in front, and neither particularly settled into it as they jumped the first and everything over. Belfast Banter maybe not so good, and Benson there as well wasn't too good either. He needs to get a better sight of his hurdles as they go through the gears.
Aren't they?
They are indeed. Not So Sleepy, Kid Commando, Lightly Squeeze. Then in behind we've got Oakley, Botox has Malaya. And Master Debonair, and Benson hasn't jumped that again. Yeah, it could well be one of those Sandown horses who only operates at that track. But still, they are going a good clip. But Not So Sleepy's managed to pull himself to the front as they approach this bend for the first time. Kid Commando, who didn't get home last time out, but has won here in the past. Then in behind, what have we got? We've got down the inside Isolate, who's next to Harambe, Arrivederci. Then we've got Night Edition, Buzz. And just looking for the McManus Silks of.
He's going quite well in about fifth.
I can't see. There he is. He's buried away on the outside. But Not So Sleepy is in front with Kid Commando. But again, they are going a good clip here, Darren.
Clip.
Has anything shortened in the market?
Yeah, very much so. Geez, they are going quite hard. Not So Sleepy usually guarantees that. No major moves as yet. Not So Sleepy 23 from 30.4, but the market probably recognises he is going a good clip. Arrivederci 7.6, Benson 9.8 from them two couple of bad jumps. Time Flies by 8.2, Buzz 10.5, Belfast Banter 10.0 from 12 BSP. No major changes as of yet. We'll keep you informed.
Far too keen, Isolate, I think, one of the ones that I'm with. I would want to be in midfield, I think, here, guys, wouldn't you? What about Lightly Squeezed? He's got a lovely little sit, isn't he, on the inside? He was a bit keen, though, really, wasn't he, Matt, with Not So Sleepy? So those two, maybe a couple of the freshest. This will sort Cormier as well, you know, and he is in midfield. If I was getting involved now, I think I'd be expecting him to have a little say turning for home.
I mean, we'll see how quick they're gone now, going up this hill. This finds them.
Is this where they start to take...
This is when they go for their girth, they have a breath, and the early pace tell the tale now.
We're on the far side then at Ascot in the finale, the 3:35, wherever you're playing. Time to get excited. Not So Sleepy. He's breaking ranks.
He's still in front, and he's kicked on now to try and take a few of these out of their comfort zone. Benson is not enjoying it and hasn't been in his comfort zone for the entire race, but again, we're still waiting to see how this pace holds up. Oakley didn't jump that particularly well, but better than Kid Commando, although he's managed to make a mistake and pull himself forward 2 places.
Time flies by, cantering, isn't isn't he?
As is Cormier out the back. Oakley kicks on now under a proper Richard Johnson drive into that hurdle, wasn't it? Time flies by, comes off the bridle. Kid Commando drops out.
Buzz is there.
Buzz is there on the outside, swinging away. Belfast Banter as well catches the eye out the back, but it's still not so sleepy. Oakley and Lightly Squeeze. And again, will this pace hold up like it often does at Ascot, or will the closers come into it? Oakley now, my annoying horse, throws it down to Not So Sleepy. Buzz is going to have a big
say here, guys.
Buzz is trying to get into it as well, but it's still Not So Sleepy from Oakley. Behind those is Lightly Squeeze, but it is Not So Sleepy and Oakley as they turn into the home straight. Are they going to get to Not So Sleepy though? He's kicked on again. Ascot Lover has gone clear with Oakley and Lightly Squeeze. Buzz is coming into it as well.
Closing.
Another good jump from Not So Sleepy, who absolutely loves it at the track, and he's still in front. Belfast Banter.
Here comes Buzz.
Doesn't often find off the bridle. Will he today? Not So Sleepy is kicked
Mattie
for home.
Batchelor, you're getting excited now, Batch.
Lightly Squeeze, Buzz, Belfast Banter, but they still haven't
He's got this, I think.
Not So Sleepy.
It's in the bag.
Not So Sleepy jumps the last and kicks on again.
Confident there, Batch.
Not So Sleepy he's going to take this field apart again. Not So Sleepy is still out in front. Not So Sleepy in front. He's hanging towards his near side rail. Coming home is Buzz and Lightly Squeeze. But Not So Sleepy is going to have to stop. And Not So Sleepy does not stop. Never mind the fight in fifth. He's gone on and won a valuable handicap. And Benson runs on for fourth.
Benson's run a remarkable race. We'll pick the bones out of that in a minute. Goodness gracious me. Darren Hughes, while the guys decide how they're going to tell and analyse us that finish. What on earth did the market say about Not So Sleepy from the turn in?
I can't believe I abandoned that horse. I've gone over the hill on him so many times. He hit a high of 80 in the run, would you believe? I don't know for how much at the moment. 80 for small money, 13 quid match at 65. It looked like he was going to be swallowed up at one stage. Kid Commando. He never got a moment's peace. So that's a really, really impressive performance. Obviously, very testing ground on a track that we say is difficult to make all, especially in a big field like that. He was never given a moment's peace to hold around. You'd have to be really, really taken with that.
Massively. And after what he did in the fight in fifth hurdle as well.
Yeah.
But he's never been given a moment's peace, but he's never been headed either.
No.
He's been in front from the word go. So he just keeps going and going and going and going, and that's all he's done. I mean,
it's a remarkable horse, isn't he? Because he looked like he wasn't going to cut the ice over hurdles, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he just obviously loves Ascot, and it plays well to his strengths. There were loads of eye catches.
Where has Benson come from?
Banter on the inside. There's one in him, I think, isn't there? Lightly Squeezed has come right back to form at a price. Buzz, I don't know. Did Nico think he had this in the bag, do you think, coming to the last? You thought he did?
I thought he did. He looked very confident, and then he sort of didn't pick up. But
he's a horse that's stable on the flat.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether now they're going to look at staying him up in Cheltenham. I think Cheltenham's his track.
Yeah.
But there's a big one in him over an extended 2 miles or maybe 2 mile 4.
I think he's been done for toe. Listen, they've gone. We thought they were going quick enough.
Yeah.
The Lightly Squeezed, that was up in the van with him.
It was a carbon copy of what he did when winning there at the last meeting.
As I say, there's only two horses who've made ground, and they're Buzz and Benson.
Yeah.
And they are the two.
The first and third are up there.
Yeah, so the two unexposed, youthful, lightly race hurdlers.
Did Benson go off Fav, Darren Hughes?
Did Benson go off Fav? No,
I think Arrivederci did, didn't he?
No, Benson did narrowly, BSP 7.14 to Arrivederci 7.6. But he did finish. He finished with some rattle. He came out of nowhere. It's actually interesting. Belfast Banter was done at 101 in the place market for about 400 quid. So fingers badly burnt there. Not just the win market that we get some in-run and carnage on.
But as a man who backed Benson each way, I'll take it.
More emotion from Ross Brierley, would you believe? Well, Not So Sleepy wakes up again in the final race. Because say the ace tips at the Racing Post today. I spoke to him about it yesterday. I was like, you're mad, man. Graham Rodway, that was his nap of the day. Happy days, 20-1. I mean, Rodders, he'll be here on Boxing Day, by the way, on RP Live.
I would have thought he'd been on Buzz, given that he was grey.
Well, very good.
He looks a grey horse to swim.
We've had to wait till the very last moment for Ross to give him one of his one-liners. Happy days. Look, we've had great fun here today on RP Live. We now go into hibernation before Christmas. Enjoy it wherever you're going to be. Darren Hughes, what's the typical Darren Hughes Christmas look like? Are you? What are we managing to do in Dublin for Christmas?
Yeah, we're not too bad here. We can still go out to pubs and restaurants and stuff. I think they're going to close us down just before New Year's Eve. So a bit of an active enough Christmas plan, dinner with family and friends and stuff. We've been out and about. Mass Christmas morning, come back, bit of a nap, big dinner, another nap, and then start studying for the racing the following day. So
doesn't sound too bad. Darren, I know you're a man that likes to look ahead. What's the one horse you're looking forward to in Ireland over Christmas for your followers out there?
I was hoping Champ was going to come over and get his arse handed to him, but that doesn't look like to be honest, I thought we'd put manners on him, but that I'm not 100% sure at the moment. Shaq and Pursois maybe might run at Christmas time. I'd be hoping to see him test his champion hurdle or his champion chase chances. So we'll see how he goes. Yeah, should be a good Christmas. It'd be sad now not to be going racing. I normally go to Limerick every Christmas for a couple of days, so I'll miss it this year, but fingers crossed next year.
Great meeting, of course, at Downwall and Limerick as well. We love our Irish racing, and that will be fantastic. Darren Hughes, thank you very much. Mattie Batch, great to have you back in.
Yeah, pleasure to be back.
Christmas period, no doubt, and beyond, and you're becoming part of the crew here, aren't you?
Hopefully, yeah. Get a room soon, won't I?
Learning about the exchange as you go as well.
Oh, that's
You've given us some great insights. What does a typical batch look like? You're a bit of a dab hand in the old chef, aren't you?
Yeah.
We've got a social I'm being told as well. Something tells me this might tie in. Let's have a look. What have we got up the social on the screen? Danny Whelan, what well-fancied favourite for Cheltenham will not win? OK, let's get to that. Let's go down the panel, ask them about their festivities, and then I shall come to that. We'll give a bit of time to think as well. What's the big level? We'll come to Darren with that one as well.
Christmas dinner? Yeah, I'll cook Christmas dinner. First, probably Boxing Day, that I won't have a ride.
Is that a little sparrow on a plate, is it, or something like that? Is it?
No, I go full hog.
Do you?
Oh, pigs in blankets, sprouts.
Lovely. Happy days.
Cauliflower cheese, turkey.
Yeah, uncertainty everywhere, restrictions everywhere, but still we can have a good Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll do the cooking, so I
wish you well, Batch, and we'll see you again.
Happy Christmas to everyone.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Batch, quite right indeed. Ross Brierley, we'll see you back over the festive period. What are we doing on Christmas Day? Are you exploiting these bubbles or?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my mum and dad. I'm cooking. It's
another dab hand, of course, in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's on me this year. But I'm having a herb encrusted salmon. Oh,
on Christmas
Very
Day.
nice.
On Christmas Day.
Very nice,
time to move on immediately.
It's always come across like that, isn't it?
Oh, if only that each way double would have been.
Trebillon.
A herb encrusted salmon on Christmas Day.
I think a full salmon is actually cheaper than a full turkey.
It might well be. It certainly is in Leeds. Darren Hughes, let's go to you.
They just swim around.
Let's come back to you, Darren. One favourite. What's the lay of the Cheltenham Festival? I sprung it on you, hasn't it? Come on, what's the one you don't like? Would it be Envoy? Are you brave enough? Or shish kebabs?
Jesus, no.
Epatante,
no,
something like that.
Envoy is the second coming of Christ. Definitely not him. I won't be taking him on. To be honest, I was having this discussion with a mate the other day. It actually looks, quite a number of them look, and I hate this word, but bomb-proof. And I know to say that in December for Cheltenham sounds absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not like an Acca's punter around it, so I won't put them all into anything. But the few of them that are hard to take on. I'm just having a look here. If I was going to take one on, Easy's Land is 3.0 for the cross-country chase, and I think that's a run. Like, I wouldn't back that with stolen money. I'd be quite content. I might actually going to lay him at 3.2, 3.5. But after that, I mean, you're looking at this. The Arkell Shishkin looks like he's going to be very hard to beat. All Mankind mightn't even run. Champion Hurdle, Epatante looks very hard to beat. I think 6-4 is probably a fair enough price about her, to be honest.
I don't know. That looks a bit skinny to me, if I'm honest with you. 6-4.
What price does she go off on the day? I mean, like, you know, Abacadabras and San Ra are probably her main two rivals.
Well, Leopardstown,
maybe Concertista.
The Irish champion hurdle still to come. I don't know. Samroy might just show his hand a little bit. Will Honeysuckle? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I suppose we do need something to come up, don't we? But 6-4. I don't know. Maybe under 2-1 looks a bit skinny to me. I'm looking down the list as well. Got Galvin, of course, in the National Hunt Chase, haven't you? We're getting slightly bigger prices now. Monkfish, clear favourite, isn't he, for the RSA? Very hard to argue with that one. There are some bomb-proof ones, aren't there? I don't know. What about Shaq and Passoir at 11-4?
Yeah, I'd be keen to take him on. I think Altior is too big a price. The Champion Chase. He's never really run badly. Like people are rushing to take him on. He hasn't done anything to say that. The rest of them still have to match his level of form. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they have to come up to him. It's not that he's fallen down and he's bounced back.
He'll be older than Father Christmas when he turns up with a Champion Chase, won't he? I think that's the
problem.
Put
the word straight out of my mouth.
There you are. Age is a number at Cheltenham.
Look at me. How good do I look?
What about Sir Gerhard in the bumper? There might be one for you. I think we might see some.
No, I think he's
another Envoy. Yeah, the horsey beat of. The horsey beat
Christ,
of Gav Cromwell's yesterday. He did look good, didn't he?
He's a good horse too, by the way.
We're struggling to come up with ones for that, so that's a bit. But listen, maybe we'll think about that. Zana here in the Triumph 4-1 again. You know, will there usually are some juveniles waiting to come out as well? Not sure. Album Photo 11-2. Will Manello Indo be challenging him for that as well? All to come then. Well, fantastic things. Thanks to Darren Hughes. Thanks to Mattie Batchelor. Thanks to Ross Brierley. I'm Dave Orton. Happy Christmas from us all here at RP Live. The guys in the gallery as well. Wishing you a merry one. See you Boxing Day.